iRacers were in for a surprise when the brand new late model stock car was announced to be released for 2023 season number 2, and here it is, finally in all of its glory at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Of course, we've had Wilkesboro for a while, but this brand new late model stock car changes short track racing entirely here on the sim, and it gives a whole new dimension to the short track world on iRacing.com. Welcome to Pit Stop TV. We're at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the EPI Late Model Showdown, the very first running of it. Last time for week 13, we were here, well, we were across southern Florida, really, it felt like northern Florida, for a whole Lollapalooza, whatever you want to call it, EPI Speed Week. Well, that is no more. Instead, we have this one-round late model showdown this evening. Thank you so much to Tyler Payne and everybody at EPI for making this one happen. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got Steve Singer along with me, and this special event is brought to you by Team 126 Racing, Cottle Captures, Rocket iRace Wraps, and of course, Elite Performance Industries. Qualifying is on track. Caleb Hall, the fastest of them all so far. Car 9 goes to the top of the board. Now Dakota Todd second. Landon Huffman, not the one who just won the Hickory Track Champion, but the one that just announced that he's running Hickory this year. He is third, and everybody else is getting their times in early, as you can see across the lineup here. Timmy Holmes now up to the top of the board.
Fast laps, Andrew. Looking at the timing tower right now, 18:11, 18:11, 18:12. These guys are right on top of each other.
Timmy Holmes there in car number 6. Fastest Vicente Salas. He recently made his Hickory Motor Speedway debut. He goes second. So a lot of guys that are recently getting up and running in the real world in these late models, not necessarily late model stock, but in late models, really showing that they've got some speed in these cars. And what we've heard this week with this brand new release of this car is that it is pretty well true to its real-life counterpart. Of course, it gets run at several short tracks across the South Boston Speedway, Hickory Motor Speedway, you name it, and, of course, the famed Cars Tour that was just bought by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks.
What better place, too, to put this car through its paces than North Wilkesboro? It's going to be a fun one. Let's
talk a bit about this track as well. North Wilkesboro Speedway, it's really hard to encompass under just a few short words, but a little over a half mile, downhill into turn 1, uphill into turn 3. Let's take a quick look at the track map for this one this evening. It's also got that kind of odd shape, kind of an egg shape almost. The front stretch is kind of bowed compared to the back stretch, and turns 3 and 4 are also a wider radius compared to turns 1 and 2. And the old late model stock record, lap record here was a 17,681 at North Wilkesboro Speedway on the previous car. And well, we're not hitting that this evening. I think this car is just a little bit off that mark, but I'm sure these guys will find some speed in the weeks to come. And somebody who's finding speed already is somebody who was oh so good in the old late model stock car. Alex McCullum to the top of the board now in car 01. Ryan Kuhn to second place. Cole Cabry now on track in car 54. Let's go on board here and see what it's like. And this is with the new driver's eye camera that we've debuted this week. Cole Cabry up already into 4th gear down the front stretch, and this is really down the front stretch into turn 1. There's not many tracks like this that are built on a hill, but you really get a good view of exactly what he sees, literally, from this point of view, and just what it's like to go down the hill in turn 1, up the hill in turn 3, and fight this car. A lot of grip in it, but you've still got to be careful on that throttle.
Didn't lay this place out with lasers. It was all hand equipment and pencils and pads and papers. It's got character.
P17 there for Cole Cabry, just a little over a 10th off of the top mark. It looks like 52 of our 64 entrants are in the session. Here's Alex Bonsignor in car 52. Looks like he has a 50 there painted on the side of his car. That's okay. Right back to this driver's eye camera. I can't get enough of this. I think this changes the game as far as our onboards here at Pit Stop TV. Thanks to Whiplash Media SimCams. This is the best look we've ever had inside of a stock car, especially. You see everything. You see the shifter down to the right. You see all of the wheel. You see what the driver is seeing. You see the mirror. Right? This is just a really good point of view.
Excellent camera. I was just looking forward to being able to use this camera set. You threw it in free of charge. It was nice to see, but it's really good work.
That's right. That camera, well, all of these late model stock onboard cameras are free to use, free to download from Whiplash Media SimCams on the Whiplash Media SimCams Discord channel. Just like that, qualifying is wrapped up. We have 4 heats this evening. A little bit of a rush pre-race, but we have 4 heats, 20 laps apiece. So we are taking 6 drivers from each heat race. That's 24. Then a 15-lap LCQ about 7 o'clock tonight will set the remaining 4 positions. We'll have a 28-car starting grid. Before we get into heat number 1, a big thank you to our partners here this evening: Elite Performance Industries, Team 126 Racing, Caudal Captures, and Rocket iRace Wraps. Do want to mention we have a couple of contingency awards this evening as well. Here's a look at them. First up, the Clean Driver Award. And the driver with the fewest incidents, going to a tiebreaker of finishing position, will receive $25, presented by Jason Ferre Racing. And the Halfway Leader Award in the feature this evening, the driver to lead lap 50 will take home $25 as well, thanks to Tyler Hughes Motorsports. Alex McCullum, quickest in qualifying, means he will lead us to the green for heat number 1. 20 laps in all, but let's take a look at the lineup. Alex McCullum on pole, Caleb Hall from second spot. Starting third, it's Garrett Maines in the 12. That's going to be a name to watch. Spencer Dickinson rolls off fourth place. Starting fifth, it's Cole Cabry. Jacob Harbert starts from sixth. And to row number 4, you'll find Blade Timmons and Kyle Storm. To round out your top 10, finally, it's Tyler Payne himself alongside Matthew Boniface. The rest of your Heat 1 lineup: Ashton Lawson, Dylan McDonald, and Alex Bunks in the car we just saw at the back end of qualifying there. There's a lot to unpack this evening, especially this quickly, but we are ready to go racing, and I am so excited. The biggest event with this brand new late model stock car that you could possibly imagine for week 13.
Certainly excited for it. Definitely sounds like action here in this first heat.
Take a look at the weather conditions. 76.8 degrees in the air, 84 degrees down on the track, and we're going to see that, I think, drop a little bit as we race into the later afternoon stages of the day. We don't have lights with this 1987 version of North Wilkesboro Speedway, so no night racing, unfortunately, like they do with the Cars Tour, but very close to it. Now, call your shot now. All of you that are watching out in the YouTube chat, I know you guys. You all have your favorites. Call out who you think is going to win this heat race and punch their ticket first off to the feature. We will be starting 28 this evening. I see John asking about how many qualify in. Nobody from qualifying. Nobody locked in from qualifying. Not even the pole sitter of Alex McCullum. They've got to do it through the heat race. The first 6 drivers to the start-finish line, they will move on. They will advance. And then we take 4 from the LCQ. Alex McCullum on pole for Heat 1. He's going to lead Caleb Hall, Garrett Maines, and Spencer Dickinson, even Cole Cabry, and everybody else with the green flag. Green flag flies for the first time with the late model stock car at North Wilkesboro. Side by side up front. Caleb Hall falls back a little bit that time through 3 and 4, and McCullum tries to slide up and clear him. It's not going to happen that time.
A little difficult to get the power down for Caleb Hall. He slips back into the second spot. A little bit of contact with himself and McCullum out of turn 2.
Into the inside goes car 9, making quick work of that 10 car. Easily picking off your pole sitter, Caleb Hall, making a big move, but he's not clear yet. Now he might get clear in 1 and 2. He looks strong, though, especially on the bottom side. Clears the 10 car there, but it's not over. He's going to have to block on the backstretch. Garrett Maines going to make a move.
McCullum stuck on the top side here, unable to get the car down to the low groove. He's going to lose the second spot here in just another lap or so if the 12 can pull it off.
Further back, your transfer line or transfer spot battle is going to be Spencer Dickinson and Tyler Payne currently, as they race for the 6th position, and Dickinson going to lose it across the line that time. Tyler Payne had it by a hair with that nose. Literally just, I think, the width of the splitter as they race out of turn 2 this time. This, again, your transfer spot battle. Your top 6 move on. Tyler Payne now the first one in. Last one in, I should say.
Between 6th and 7th, Tyler Payne, Spencer Dickinson. That's been hot and heavy for the last couple of laps.
On board here with Jacob Harberts riding in the 8th spot. And he's got to look at both of these guys who are racing for the transfer. 20 laps goes by quick in a place like North Wilkesboro. I know it's one of the bigger tracks you'll see late model stock cars ever race at, but It's not easy. It's really not easy to pass cars this quickly at a place like Wilkesboro. It's so difficult to actually get a quality move on somebody, and I think this shows it. Garrett Maines up to P2 in car 12 as these guys continue to fight. It kind of fizzles out for 6th for now, and man, Garrett Maines is really starting to pick up in that 12 car. Purple the last 2 laps. Watch out for this Ryko driver to maybe have something here by the end as he works on the 9 car of Caleb Hall. He's a little ways back, but still has half this heat race to go.
Tyler Payne hanging out of that 6th position still. Jacob Herbert's behind in the 80.
There are a couple of cars that fell back off the start, those being Alex Bonsignor and Dylan McDonald. They are each 9 seconds back of the race leader and counting, make it 10 now for McDonald, so they need a yellow, frankly, and we could get one here as Boniface goes around in turns 1 and 2 and backs it into the outside wall. Caution 1 of the evening, and it comes for the kid in the 95, and it looks like he is maybe done. I'll just stop and let these guys go by.
Just prior to that incident off of turn number 2, we watched him out of turn number 4. Car got all sorts of squirrely, very loose on exit. He gathered it back up in 4, wasn't able to do the same in 2.
Wow, he's got a better feel for the car than I would. He threw the car through turn 4, nearly pancaked the fence under yellow. Let's go back and see what happened to the car, to the 95 car this time. And watch the red 95 here on the inside of the 6 of Dickinson. Into turn 1, just kind of sails it up on the inside and runs into Dickinson. Here comes the 81 to send him around, and that's that.
Pretty self-explanatory on that one.
And that's tough as a driver when you're just trying to take advantage of something, trying to move through the field, especially when you're only a couple of spots behind the transfer. You're just obviously trying to race your way in, but you make a mistake like that takes you out of contention potentially. He's 13th. He's got to pass 7 cars now to make it up to a transfer spot and race with Tyler Payne. That's not going to be easy, especially in only 10 laps once we go back green flag racing.
Yeah, and that specifically, it looks like caution laps do not count. We just got into the lap 9 as that yellow had come out. Just past halfway once we go back to green.
We will restart with 10 laps to go. Here are your race leaders. Caleb Hall on the inside, Garrett Maines on the outside, then Alex McCollum and Blade Timmons. And your back row of transfers currently are Cole Cabry and Tyler Payne. We'll see if that changes here on this restart. Tyler Payne going to have to work his tail off, that's for sure. Here comes the green flag quickly from car 9. Caleb Hall gets him fired back off. Let's watch this transfer battle. Watch the 80 down low. That's Jacob Harberts as we fly off into turn 3. 10 laps to go in the heat. Dickinson there as well. He's got a good spot.
3 wide in the back of the pack. Boniface. Oh, gets into the back of somebody else here. Don't see who that was. We got trouble in turn 1. I think Dylan McDonald possibly in this. Yep, the 51.
Yep. McDonald and Boniface. No caution yet. We might stay green. Leaders still racing, and Tyler Payne is falling back big time. He's back to 7th. Had a big slide that time, it looked like, and now the 23 car of Blade Timmons is working here in Ashton Lawson. And Garrett Maines went purple again. Here comes Harberts. He's going to work on Cole Cabry. This is for 4th. 7 laps to go that time by side-by-side battle for the 4th spot. Harberts on the inside, Cabry on the outside. And, oh, maybe a little bit of a touch there. On board with Harberts. Almost had it that time through 3 and 4. Still racing side by side. 6 to go. Contact up the track. Goes the white 54. And Cole Cabry is now out of a transfer spot. That bumps the 18 of Tyler Payne back in. Cabry drops to the 8th spot. Kyle Storm's in front of him. Blade Timmons behind. And up front, things are getting close between the couple of teammates controlling this race, and Caleb Hall and Garrett Maines closer and closer as the laps tick by. And there's the poke. Garrett Maines takes a look to the inside that time of Caleb Hall.
Maines has the pace. His best lap, not a whole lot faster than Caleb Hall. Talking 300ths, but he's got it there. They're within 100th of a second based on their last lap, so he's got the pace.
Dylan McDonald, the damaged car ahead of these guys. Lap traffic could come into play. Let's hope not for these two. As you can see, that 51 is real dinged up as they fly off into turn 3. It'll be popsicle sticks, this time by in heat 1 of 4. Maines at the racetrack there. Oh! Up and over goes McDonald in the 51. Caution is out. And Tyler Payne gets smashed up in it as the 81 just did not stop. Wow. And I wonder if Payne's going to get his position back in that. I think that'll have to be an admin ruling. Frankly, regardless of who he is, you hate to see that. The caution's already out. He's checking up, and he gets hit and smashed up and crashed up.
Definitely don't like to see it happen that way.
Let's take a look back at this for Dylan McDonald in car 51, and he was just trying to stay out of the way. I think Garrett kind of read that a little poorly, maybe didn't realize just how slow the 51 was, and that said, Garrett did nothing wrong. Garrett's not the reason the 51 ended up on his lid here, and man, that's really unfortunate for the 18.
I will say both leaders did an excellent job staying out of that. Once the car got airborne, they didn't make any contact, continued on, didn't lose their spot, but you said it on the backstretch, hopefully this lap car doesn't become a problem, and almost was.
Just from the onboard there of the 10 of McCullum. And then Tyler Payne checking up, and I'm not really sure where the 81 of Storm was going, to be entirely honest. I hate to rag on a guy already in Heat 1, but he just kept rolling up into it on the top side, hit the fence, and that's really unfortunate. Caution was already out. McDonald, by the way, I think he will definitely be done after that. He is in the pit lane. And, yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think that car is going to get back out there.
No, and unfortunately for Dylan, he was at the back of the field as it was. I don't think he was really in a position for a transfer. Still not the way you want to end your night.
Caution still out. Pace truck lights still on. I think the admin's kind of taking a look at things, deciding if any further action need be taken. And Kyle Storm, I thought maybe he was thinking back. No, he just briefly gave a spot there to Alex Bonsignor, but I think we'll get the 1 to go signal this time by. I think iRacing.com pace truck lights will be extinguished, and the answer is no, not yet. We are still in yellow. And the race is already going to be extended here. We have 3 green-white checkered attempts. We do have a time limit of 12 minutes. We've got to be coming up on that here soon.
About 10 minutes and 20 seconds into this particular heat, so we're getting close.
I wonder if admins are trying to push right up to that. It'll give us likely only 1 attempt here at a green-white checkered. This next restart will be the final. And Garrett Maines, actually, I'm surprised. He's been sent to the rear.
I don't know if I like that personally. I mean, you look at that, and I don't even think he made contact with the 51.
If he did, it certainly wasn't what put McDonald on his lid, but Garrett Maines, I think, likely out unless we have a crash on this restart. Pace truck lights have finally been extinguished, and it looks like they're trying to slot in line for a single final restart.
They got less than a minute before this one's official.
This is going to be real close. We're going to have just enough time to get 2 laps in. Everybody packing up to the outside wall already. A little bit of a puzzling way for this race to finish, but green flag is out. 2 laps to go. Green-white checkered for number 1 on the night. 2 laps to go to settle Heat 1.
Boniface getting 3 spots there into turns 1 and 2.
Tyler Payne now in 13th. Garrett Maines in 10th. He's already got a couple of spots. He's going to try and get one more here in Boniface. 1 lap to go in the heat. It's still Caleb Hall out front. This is your final car on the in right now. Blade Timmons in the 23. The first car out is Ashton Lawson. Nothing happening. No crashing. No opportunity for the guys in the back. It's all going to be Caleb Hall to the start-finish line. Heat 1 goes to car 9.
Well, they got the clock just about perfect there. The clock went to 12 minutes just as the 5th place car crossed the stripe. Caleb Hall with the win.
Heartbreak for Garrett Maines and Tyler Payne both. A really poor situation that, frankly, I don't know. I think that could have been done better in a couple of different ways, but we still have 3 heats to go and a lot of cars to qualify in this field. Again, 52 showed up, and it's not every day you have 52 cars show up to a racetrack at all, let alone in iRacing, let alone at North Wilkesboro Speedway. So you've got to do a whole lot of effort to get 52 cars out of 28 cars and get them into this race. Ryan Kuhn, he's going to lead us to the green here for Heat 2 to get 6 more into the field. And let's not forget, those guys are not sent home. I should be clear. The guys that just missed, I guess, the transfer, not all of them are sent home. I don't know how many were starting for the LCQ off the top of my head, but we do still have that LCQ coming up. 15 laps will take 4 drivers from that race. Ryan Kuhn on pole for heat number 2. Chase Williamson will start from 2nd. Rocky Boyd III of the Street Stock Ace will start from 3rd spot. Josh Cottle of Cottle Captures from 4th. Corey Body from 5th position. Trevor Edwards from the shop, he will start 6th. A big shout out to those guys recently joining EPI in their short track effort. James Holzer and Kyle Meyer make up row number 4. That is a big time EPI row in front of Mario Ercolani and Cameron Iverson for your top 10. Then Gavin Fitzgerald, Lane Hostler, and Braxton DeWeese all the way back in position 13. He has got some work to do.
Another 20-lap heat getting ready to get underway here from North Wilkesboro.
Here's a look from Braxton DeWeese's position, and this is... I try to say this every short track race because when you have somebody starting this far back, trying to get to 6th just to make the show, this is a really daunting point of view. This is really intimidating to look at. 12 cars in front of you, you know you have to pass more than half of them. That's not easy.
You know, the other side of this, too, is you can sit there in the back and kind of let things work its way out. Again, it is still a short heat, but if you can avoid some of the attrition that can happen in these, it's not a guarantee. You could just find yourself in a transfer spot simply by not being involved in it.
As we gear up for heat number 2, another big shout out to our presenting partners of this event, Elite Performance Industries, powered by The Shop, Team 126 Racing, Cottle Captures, and Rocket iRace Wraps. Green flag is out. Heat 2 is underway. That time, a much better start for the pole sitter as Williamson falls back on lap 1. He's got Rocky Boyd to his inside. 1 lap complete. Williamson going to go for the crossover. It's not going to happen. 1 lap complete in heat 1, or heat 2.
Out of 2, Kuhn starting to stretch it out. A couple of car lengths back to Rocky Boyd. Boyd's under pressure from Chase Williamson.
Corey Body, the last car in, currently in the 44. That means James Holzer is the first car out. Let's go on board with the driver in 7th. And Ryan Kuhn fastest that time, an 18.354. He and McCullum were a couple of the drivers I thought were best. Maybe Ryan Matthews in the top 3 of drivers on the old late model stock car that was relegated to the archives earlier this week. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust. Already you saw McCullum in heat 1. Was fantastic, just maybe not quite yet acclimated, as he did get beat out by Garrett Maines, I think, and Caleb Hall on pace. Obviously, Garrett Maines had that issue and went to the back on that restart, but regardless, 4 laps complete here in Heat 2, and Ryan Kuhn showing why he still cannot be messed with for this late model stock car. Oh, so good. Watch out for him here in Season 2. He could go for the overall title in late model tour racing.
Ryan Kuhn, not just fast, but super smooth behind the wheel. Doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes.
No, I don't think he really ever has. He's always been so good. A driver out of Maine, up in what used to be my neck of the woods. I really appreciate what he does with Maine racing up there. Of course, used to run a beach ridge a lot. They shut down, kind of expanding, running a lot more of the pass races. I think he'll be down at Hickory later this month. At least that would be the hope. Regardless, there's a battle for 2nd spot. Rocky Boyd III and Chase Williamson here for 2nd and 3rd. Josh Cottle behind and Trevor Edwards in the top 5 as well. Corey Body still the first car in a much more spread out heat this time around. And even guys like Kyle Meyer, Mario Urcolani back here, they're kind of spread out for these positions as well. It's just less organization overall.
8 laps in, these guys are really minding their P's and Q's compared to the first heat. Not a whole lot of aggression involved, not banging doors already right off the bat. And we're just about a lap and a half shy of halfway.
And this is where he got that first yellow with Boniface in Heat 1. So far, I don't see any indication of getting a yellow at all in this race. Here's Rocky Boyd trying to fend off Chase Williamson still. And I think Boyd fired off great from the start, but as these tires start to take heat, it's not hot. It's far from hot right now in the session. 83-degree track temp is pretty mild for North Carolina. But Williamson, I think, is just taking better care of his car. Back to the driver's eye view here. Chase Williamson in third, working on the 25 of Rocky Boyd.
Williamson not really giving up a whole lot of ground here to Boyd. I think if he's able to get on by, he might be able to run down Kuhn, but it remains to be seen as he still sits in the third spot.
Well, setup shops are the talk of the town always in short track racing, it feels like, at least on the sim. And Williamson's going to poke to the inside of one of the RKM drivers. Now, we had 2 Ryko drivers control Heat 1. We have 2 RKM drivers controlling Heat number 2. But that might be threatened here as Williamson's to the inside of Boyd. Oh, and he backs out. But you know what? That was heads-up racing from Williamson. Read the situation, read that he was only barely overlapped with the 25, and it was better to just back out and live to see these last 8 laps.
Needed to take the door off of that frame to get that couch through it. Didn't have the space, had to check up, and he still sits third.
And that's something I think that a lot of iRacers take for granted is just situational awareness and patience. A lot of guys would have forced that, even though it's only the heat race, where Williamson, he's 3 spots to the good, right? He's very much in this race, regardless of if he passes Rocky Boyd or not. So if he sits back here in third and just waits patiently, that is so much better of a circumstance than if he pushes it and forces the situation to the inside, maybe turns a 25 and either gets himself involved in the crash or crashes the 25 and gets sent to the rear for it. So that's the kind of heads-up racing we like to see here at Pit Stop TV. Props to Chase Williamson. Now he's got a real quality attempt to the inside. And when he gets into him, I say quality attempt, and they just met in the middle. And here comes Josh Cottle.
Williamson drove it way deep, got into Rocky Boyd. He's going to lose a couple of spots possibly out of this. He's back in the 4th position. Cottle gets on by.
Edwards took a stab to the inside. No luck there. The final car in is still Corey Body. He's got plenty of tenths. In fact, nearly a second back to James Holzer. So no concern there just yet. This is the best battle on the racetrack as now Chase Williamson sits behind of Josh Cottle in the 13 car. And Rocky Boyd sits nearly uncontested.
Speaking of uncontested, Ryan Kuhn still checking out.
2 laps to go as he laps Braxton DeWeese in the 8 car. We could still get a yellow. DeWeese is still in this race technically. He's not out just yet. But it's not looking great as you've got a bunch of guys battling back here. The drivers that are currently out of the race, but they could be racing a cutoff to actually make it into the LCQ. Again, I don't recall how many cars go to the LCQ, so this is still important racing. James Holzer over Kyle Meyer, Mario Urcolani, and Cameron Iverson. It'll be important to see who finishes best of the rest as we have the white flag out, presented by Whiplash Media Simcams, and into turn number 3 this time. Ryan Kuhn in car 72. The Mainer himself will win heat number 2 at North Wilkesboro.
Second, Rocky Boyd. Josh Cottle, 3rd. Chase Williamson hangs on to the 4th position. Trevor Edwards, 5th.
And Corey Body 6th in the final
6th.
transfer. Well, that is Heat 2 done and dusted just like that. What do you think so far?
It's great. I mean, just the heats alone has been plenty exciting. You're going to get the faster guys, obviously, into the feature. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Going to be a little bit busier, a little more traffic. Hopefully these guys can do a good job and stay off everyone's door. But, again, remains to be seen. It's North Wilkesboro. It's short track racing. Tempers are going to flare.
If you're enjoying this event, whether you're watching, racing, rooting on your teammate or your fan or whatever, check out Elite Performance Industries on all social media platforms, especially Facebook and Twitter. That seems to be where they are most active. It's at Elite Performance Industries on Facebook, at Race EPI on Twitter and Instagram. Check them out today. And consider getting yourself some top-tier iRacing, especially short-track setups, but for pretty much anything. Anything on the oval side for sure. Some dirt oval stuff, some road stuff, a lot to offer, a lot to take in over at EPI. And a big shout out as well to our partners with the rest of the evening. Team 126 Racing, Coddle Captures, and Rocket iRace Wraps. Let's meet your starting grid for heat number 3. It's weird saying heat 3. I haven't covered a big heat race structure like this in a while. On pole, Timmy Holmes in car 6. Dakota Todd will start from 2nd. Starting 3rd, it's Michael Bumgardner. He's local to Hickory. Let's see what he can do, as this isn't too far to his neck of the woods here at Wilkesboro. Jackson Lewis will start from the 4th spot. He's in car 7. There's Joel Smith. Watch him from position 5. Jake Grout will start from 6th. The rest of the field is Bailey Strickland, Dylan Calabro in the 71. Then Jordan Corrin, Bailey Hughes, Jeffrey Eddy, Hunter Gaines, and finally Curtis Hedden way at the back of the field in the 13th spot in car 85. Timmy Holmes going to lead us to the green. We're going to turn things over to the sounds of these late model stock cars. Green flag back out at Wilkesboro. One lap complete. Timmy Holmes out front, and the race for the cutoff is Dylan Calabro is in currently, then Bailey Strickland in the 7th spot. Watch these two. They could be going at it very, very soon. Strickland in this blue and black 84 car, Calabro in the black and yellow 71. This might be an attempt early.
Got battles all over the racetrack. Top 4 under a blanket at the front of the field. At the very tail of the field, we got a side-by-side battle that has just kind of broken itself up off of turn number 2 between Hunter Gaines and Jake Grout.
And up front, this is the look at things. You mentioned side-by-side and nose-to-tail battles all over the racetrack. Here's a look at a couple of them. Timmy Holmes finally clear of Dakota Todd outright. Bumgardner in 3rd. Jackson Lewis in the 4th spot. Joel Smith kind of in his own world right now in 5th. I think he likes it that way currently. Much better than looking at some of these side-by-side and nose-to-tail battles. These guys slipping and sliding all over the place. Further back, you mentioned a side-by-side earlier. It was Curtis Hedden and I believe Jeffrey Eddy, as Hunter Gaines has already pulled off in position 12, and Jake Grout did not make the start. So that thins the field just a little bit as 5 laps are complete in this 3rd heat. I'm getting mixed up, and that's going to happen through all 4 heats, I think. I love this, though. We don't have this kind of event on Pit Stop TV very often. We get a lot of just general weekly league racing, and that's all fun and games. I love that. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but these special events, man, they are something special for a reason, and it's not just in the name.
100% right. Certainly a lot of fun to watch all through the heats. I mean, it's like going to your local short track on a Friday night and watching the races unfold there. It's daytime, but we got a battle for the 2nd position. Mike Baumgartner putting the pressure on Dakota Todd. Might have it here into 3. Looks like he does. Has him cleared. Baumgartner up to P2.
And Dakota Todd, I think, very race-aware right there. Sat behind Bumgardner, didn't try anything. Wants to make sure he can hold down the 4th and 3rd over Jackson Lewis before he fights Bumgardner. So I'm seeing a lot of heads-up racing, and we like to see that. And I think we're seeing more of that at the top of short-track racing on the sim. For a while there, it got pretty hectic, but we're starting to see some really quality racecraft return. It starts with these guys like Dakota Todd that reads the room in that situation, doesn't need to force anything just yet. It's still not even halfway, and he just wants to hold on to his starting spot right now because he's very much in this race, and that's what these guys got to understand, and it seems like they're starting to do so.
There's a lot of fast and quality racers in this session here tonight.
Yeah.
It's not always about being the fastest guy. And like you said, Andrew, being able to have that good racecraft and making sound decisions out on the racetrack, that's half the battle.
And that's what gets you into races like this that pay out $300, by the way, to the race winner later on. That is a big-time prize structure for 64 entrants that I believe paid their way into the race. Not all of them showed up, though. 12 did not make qualifying, which is kind of staggering. I would have expected those guys to show up, but hey, it makes it easier on the rest of these guys to try and qualify their way in.
He got a spinner off of 4. He straightens it back out. I think that might have been Curtis Hedden.
It was in car 85.
I don't know if I'm even saying it right, but we're trying. But he managed to gather it back up. We stay under the green flag. He's running back in the 11th position.
having some trouble, it looks like, getting a hold of this brand new late model stock car. I know a lot of people on social media, they've been saying all week it's got way too much grip, way too much grip, way too much grip. Even if it does, it still is not an easy car to drive. I don't think there's ever an easy car to drive, aside from maybe a couple of years ago with the 550 NASCAR package. But this car still has its nuances. It's still difficult, and you still can get it a little bit sideways, especially if you're going for open setup racing like we are tonight. If you're trying to get every last hundredth out of the car, absolutely you can get the car out sideways. The fixed setups are just a little bit more tight.
My personal experience with it, I've only got a handful of laps in the car. Surprisingly, maybe not to some, only on road courses. And so far on the smaller road courses, it's been a blast. iRacing does provide a fixed road set for it, so it's been fun to play around with.
That could be a lot of fun, I think, to see on the sim later on. I know Season 1 for the late model stock cars, the late model tour by iRacing, is all ovals. And Jackson Lewis tags the 63, and Dakota Todd is our first yellow in Heat 3, and he already has towed to the pit lane. Frustration there for the 63 car. I can't blame him. That was rather unfortunate to watch happen right in front of our eyes.
I saw that battle developing, and they just kind of came together off turn 2. We'll take a look at it here with the Pit Stop TV replay.
Dakota Todd a little sideways there at a turn 4, but just kind of opens the door for the 7 car on the inside, and he just kind of missed the center. He got real low on entry and just missed the center and washed up ever so slightly.
Dakota Todd certainly not wasting any time, going right to the pits after that.
Now, I wonder if we'll see a penalty here for Jackson Lewis, send him to the rear. I would imagine so after the Garrett Maines call earlier in the show. And that would bump things around a little bit. That would bring Jordan Corrin, I think, into the field currently and that might actually save him. There was some netcode. I wonder how Race Control is going to look at that. It's a weird situation anytime you get netcode on the sim. It's iRacing predicting where the cars will go next, right? So it's iRacing trying to predict where that 7 car will go next. In a lot of cases, there might be separation at the time of actual physical contact, physical netcode, if you will, but a lot of times that car would have washed up and made contact anyways. In this case, I think it could go either way.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, you can say it's netcode in many instances, and a lot of times you just kind of have to use some value judgment to see, all right, would they have made contact without the netcode, or would it not have happened? It's tough to say in that instance, but you go back to the Garrett Maines call, didn't seem like they made any contact at all, and he still got dinged, so we'll see how this plays out.
Let's get one more look at this, and this will show the moment of netcode in turns 1 and 2 from the left side of Dakota Todd's machine. Watch this. I mean, that's a good bit of netcode. That's a couple of feet, it looks like. And it looks like Jackson Lewis will hold his position. I also wouldn't be surprised if the admins use their time here under this yellow and extend this one out a little bit just to make sure they get this call right. This will be very important. Right now, Strickland the final car in, Corden the first car out. This could go either way. The question is, and I will be openly candid because I think that's honorable in broadcasting, in my opinion. With the precedent that was set earlier with Garrett Maines' penalty, I think this is the right call as you now see Jackson Lewis being sent to the rear. I wouldn't have made the call on Garrett Maines, but with that precedent, Steve, of determining any kind of fault in an incident, any kind of catalyst contact, I think that's the right call to send Jackson to the rear. I wouldn't have done, I think, either one of those, but the precedent that was set in Heat Race 1, you have to do that.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go on past history and based on how they made their first call tonight, you got to do it the way that they did. But pace truck's down, green flag is in the air. We're back racing here at North Wilkesboro.
4 laps to go in Heat 3. Look at the field race by us. It was a single file restart. I think that'll be the mantra inside of 5 laps to go tonight, so watch for that. Michael Bumgardner, he's putting some pressure here on Timmy Holmes. 3 laps to go in Heat 3. Michael Bumgardner, he's got some experience in a late model stock car in the real world. He made his first Cars Tour start back at Florence Speedway in 2021. Florence Motor Speedway, I should say. Did it for DGR Crosley Racing at the time, now Tricon Garage. And he used it to further his short track career. He's done so now, moving up to the limited late model division at Hickory Motor Speedway. I believe track champion there last season in 2022. And he's using all of that wealth of experience right now to put pressure on Timmy Holmes for this heat race. Jordan Corrin still the final car in 6th place. It looks like he'll hold that over Bailey Hughes into turns 3 and 4. No change of position up front. It's Holmes, Bumgarner, Smith, Calibro, Strickland, and Corrin. Moving on to the feature, Hughes, the first car out over Hedden and Lewis.
It's interesting to watch these first 3 heats. They've all kind of progressed slightly different from the next. One super aggressive, one kind of passive. This one a little bit of both. It's got me real curious to see how the rest of these things go.
Well, how about Vicente Salas? He will lead us to the green in heat number 4. Recently made his first late model start. Granted, I believe it was a limited late model at Hickory Motor Speedway this past week for their season opener. Record sellout crowd, by the way, at Hickory for their season opener. At least record in, I think, the last 25 or 30 years, and that's important. That goes back even to the 90s. Really good numbers. Salas will start from the inside of row 1, and I know that says Landon Huffman, but that is Landon S. Huffman. There's an important distinction to be made, and this guy actually just announced that he is running the full season, I believe, at Hickory this year with support from the Pinnacle Racing Group in Car 28. So watch for 2 Landon Huffmans, making things a little difficult on the Hickory track announcers this year. Good to see the PRG 28 here on iRacing. Really cool, actually, to see that storyline develop as a whole. Usually a dirt kart racer, so really moving his way up. From dirt karts to a limited late model, that is a big jump, but he has got the pedigree to do it. Starting 3rd place in heat number 3, 4, whichever one this is now, it'll be Dustin Monburquette from the shop. Aaron Johnson will start from the 4th spot. Starting 5th, it's Justin Crow in car 86. Blake Thornburg from position 6. Starting from 7th, it's Derek Lemke in car 35. Curtis Sutton from 8th position. Then finally, Jacob Smith and Kevin Ammon will round out your top 10 ahead of Donald Schmaldfelt and Dylan Thomas. And Lemke is also a guy that's going to have some late model experience here. I did not expect to see his name on the entry list, so we'll see how he does in car 35. He's got a 71 on the side of his car. Watch for that black and gold late model to move his way up. I believe he's even run at Hickory a few times, so he's going to have some experience here that he can use. Also an avid iRacer. Let's see what these guys can do here. Heat 4, 20 laps in length. Green flag flies. Let's get at it. The other Landon Huffman, if you will, showing why he's going late model racing this year, passes Chente on lap 1, and Aaron Johnson will fill in for 3rd. It's a battle to the line for the 6th position. Blake Thornburg takes it for now over Curtis Sutton. Dustin Monburquette, a good first lap as well there, Steve.
Just watching the battle for the 5th position, Justin Crow and Blake Thornburg going back and forth. Been side by side for the last lap and a half. They're side by side again through turns 1 and 2.
This is backing them up. You see the 26 of Sutton getting impatient in the Rackley late model. And Kevin Ammon and Derek Lemke in 8th and 9th. This is a really good battle. From 5th all the way through 9th, I think, is in a really good spot to move on into this feature race. They're all stacked up, 6 cars in a line. Throw in Jacob Smith.
Wanted to make mention, too, you can see that the tires are starting to leave the debris up in the loose part of the racetrack, the tie side. You're getting some of those marbles, so that outside lane could be a detriment. You get a little bit offline, get into the marbles, get a little bit loose. You're going to lose all that track position if you can keep the car straight.
Curtis Sutton into the 22 car there of Thornburg. Got him moved up the racetrack for a moment, and hey, a little bit of contact is expected sometimes in late model racing, especially late model stocks. Sutton going to take the spot for the moment. We'll see if he can hang on to it, but he's got the nose ahead as Chente now works on Landon S. Huffman, and Chente's ahead through 3 and 4. He's going to hang on to it to the stripe. 6 laps complete.
And we got trouble on the front straightaway. It's like the 22.
Curtis Sutton turned around. Yeah, that whole battle just came to a big-time moment. Lemke and Ammon got through. Crow got by. But Curtis Sutton, most notably involved, and right as we flipped away for the battle for the lead, Curtis Sutton is in a lot of trouble. That Rackley War, number 26. I don't think that's going to move on to the feature now. Let's go back and get a look at it. They all kind of stacked up out of the fourth corner. This will be, I think, a replay we go over a couple of times. This is what we were watching when we flipped up to the battle for the race lead. This was for the transfer. Sutton and Thornburg, and wow, that was a big moment. Lemke very lucky to get by.
Right when we switched to the leaders.
That's how it happens sometimes.
Always.
You can never win in heat racing like this when you got to follow a transfer battle. Let's watch it here. Sutton on the inside. I think he may have gotten a slight netcode bump from the 7, but still came up the racetrack a little bit into Thornburg, and that collected Jacob Smith as well on the 9. And his day likely done before it even started. Let's watch this from the nose of Kevin Ammon in the 7 car. And this tells us a little bit, I think. Yeah, there was no netcode contact. The 26 just came up ever so slightly. And, wow. Lucky for Ammon to get by. Even luckier for Lemke. Let's watch that next. From the driver's eye of Derek Lemke out of turn 4 as we work lap 7 under caution. This is very, very close. Even got a little bit of contact and then kind of helps Sutton the rest of the way around. Lucky to be continuing on.
Nice job guiding it through that.
So, Vicente Salas, now your race leader. He did it with some quick work on Landon Huffman. And I think Landon is going to try and save those tires a little bit, maybe for the back end of the heat race. Or maybe he just sits back there in the second spot and kind of makes sure he gets into the main event first. That's a very valid way to do this. We've talked about it already, just heads-up racing. And understanding the situation. Situational awareness, we'll call it, as Lemke will start the first car outside of the transfer positions for this restart. Kevin Ammon, the first one in. Justin Crow in 5th. Right in front of Lemke. Let's see what we can do on this restart. We'll leave 13 laps to go.
Salas
7 complete.
Right away.
Yeah, he got going quick. Side by side, Landon Huffman on the outside. Here comes Aaron Johnson.
Oh, trouble out of turn 2 at the back of the pack.
Still racing up front. Now a caution will fly, and I think Huffman might have just edged Johnson for the second spot as Jacob Smith is in another. You see Donald Schmalfelt on the inside of the racetrack.
Came together.
And I think Schmalfelt might be done. Well, no, he just slides him behind the pace truck and will continue on, actually. That car looks pretty decent, given all that it went through. I believe that's a Brennan Poole throwback to when he ran on the Cars Tour. Or at least what became the Cars Tour. Let's take a look. Oh, and Jacob Smith just kind of got in the back of him. They all stacked up in a little bit of contact, and I do wonder how the ruling will go on that, if anybody will be sent to the rear.
It's a tough one to call. I mean, level of aggression is up. It's late in the heat. Still got 6 minutes, so not in danger of that issue.
There was contact first from Smith, then Sutton, and the contact from Sutton is really what got the 9 unsettled to actually cause the crash. But the checkup that led to the contact from Sutton was caused by Smith. So I mean, you could go either way. I wonder if either driver will get a penalty out of all that. What we do know is it really won't impact the top 6 as they are doubling up. It looks like pace car lights have been extinguished, pace trucker lights. And yes, they have, as we reform. Only 1 extra lap completed, and I think Race Control made a quick call there, understanding we have already burnt some time. Only 8 laps complete when we come around to take the green flag once more. A big shout out to our partners this evening for the Elite Performance Industries Late Model Showdown. EPI, powered by the shop, Team 126 Racing, Caudal Captures, and Rocket iRace Wraps. Green flag back out, 12 laps to go.
Three wide into one in the back of the pack, and they make it stick. One car slides up the racetrack. Looks like the 51. No, it's the 15. That's Dylan Thomas.
One lap complete off of the green, and we are now on lap number 10. Lemke's still the first car out. Crow the last car in. Ammon made quick work of Crow on that restart. Monburquette now in the 4th spot. He's going to get passed up by Aaron Johnson. Monburquette's kind of been sitting in that 4th position. Hasn't been able to really get moving on the top side of the racetrack as Lemke sends it big time to the inside of Justin Crow, and he will take away 6th position, moving himself tentatively into the feature event. But now, can the 86 get back to him?
Battle right now, we're seeing here 3rd spot, Aaron Johnson, and I can't even pronounce it.
Dustin Monburquette, recently joining forces over there at Elite Performance Industries with the shop. Bringing Trevor Edwards and Dustin Monburquette and a couple of others over was a big deal. Even Josh Cottle, who is a serious weapon to be reckoned with in a good way, by the way, in super late model racing. That is really going to bolster the efforts over from EPI and the shop. I think that's two coming togethers of two of the best groups, if not the best groups, in short track iRacing that are really going to put out some quality setups this coming season and season number 2 and beyond for 2023 and 2024. Monburquette to the inside here of Johnson. This a move with now 7 to go, coming to 6.
It's got him clear, takes the 3rd spot on a turn number 4.
I can't take my eyes away from this, though. Derek Lemke, Natalie Decker's fiance, by the way, racing here in the 6th position, just over Justin Crow. And it is just oh so close. And there goes Lemke to the inside of Kevin Ammon. That is going to be the difference maker. If he can make that pass, I think he's in. It's tough to make more than 2 passes in 5 laps or fewer. I think Crow can get one of these two guys. I don't know if he can get both. So if Lemke can get by for 5th, I think he'll be a whole lot safer. If Ammon can hold him off, obviously, Ammon's a whole lot safer.
Justin Crow all over the back bumper, though. He's trying to take that spot back. He wants to be a part of this.
Yeah, this race far from over. For heat race number 4, the final opportunity to go straight to the feature and not have to do it through the 15-lap LCQ. 3 laps to go with that time by.
Lemke seems to have the pace. If he can get a door opening here, he might be able to take that spot away from Amon.
He's been quick. He's had a couple of opportunities, but now he's kind of sliding back. And it seems like that last time in 1 and 2, we'll see if he does it this time here in 1 and 2. But the last time he bobbled just ever so slightly. This time much more poised through the corner. Looks a lot better in car 71. But there's Justin Crow to the inside, tags Lemke and sends him for a spin, and Curtis Sutton never was able to get on the brakes hard enough, it seems, and Lemke now out of a transfer position.
It's looking good until it wasn't. Then he gets drilled really hard there in the middle of 3 and 4.
Now
insult injury.
I'm curious here, Steve. Where's our time limit at?
Got about 1 minute and 15 remaining. I don't know if we got enough time to go back green. Maybe get 1 lap in. We'll see.
It's going to be close. Let's take the replay here. Lemke's going to restart, I think, in 9th spot. That's going to be tough for him to fight back from. He was in until this moment. Justin Crow gets in deep. Now, imagine with that contact, Crow likely gets sent to the back, and that puts Lemke in 8th. But Curtis Sutton never really meaningfully checked up for that. We'd have to get more time to go back to his onboard, but knowing how quickly we're going to have to go back green here, I don't know if we have the time. And yes, the 86 sent to the rear. That will put Lemke now, I believe, tentatively. No, Lemke's going to the rear now. He lets the 5 go by of Schmalfeld. That is, well, I think that puts the nail in the coffin there.
I don't know. I mean, looking at the replay, yeah, it was close, but maybe Lemke felt the car coming around before contact was made. Maybe he says, no, that's on me. It's tough to say.
And here we go, a single file restart. I believe, yeah, pace truck lights have been extinguished. This will be close. How much time we got?
2 seconds.
Well, there you go. So they might let us get the restart in and go for a white flag, but no. You see ATVL saying final lap on the top left of our graphics. This may be just a sprint to the start-finish line, and checkers there. We'll see. We're going to get the restart here, and white flag is out presented by Whiplash SimCams. I think they're going to give him one lap. No, race over. Checkers there. It's Salas over Huffman, Monburkett, Johnson, Ammon, and Smith.
I think they're all going to race it out anyway. Just for good measure.
I guess they're going to race it out until the timer expires. It may be here that they count it, but nothing changes. Jacob Smith will move in with the damage number 9 looking like that. No changes there, and those are your heat races. What a rough way to go.
So now it looks like we're in our Consi.
And we are starting 27 cars. Now, I believe that is just about everybody. I don't see... Most importantly, I don't see Garrett Maines in the field, unless I'm missing him here. No, I do. Okay, he will start 13th. This may be everybody that hasn't gone in. So we've had 24 move on. 27 are in this race. This is just about... I think that comes out to what? 51?
I'm not the math person here.
I think 51 cars. So we've got all but one driver that did not make it straight into the feature in this LCQ. So this is going to be a whole lot of fun. Only the top 4 go on. Let's meet our LCQ, Consolation, whatever you want to call it, starting grid. On pole, we'll go through this quickly. It's Ashton Lawson, James Holzer from the outside pole. Starting in 3rd, it's Bailey Hughes, then Blake Thornburg. Starting from 5th is Kyle Storm. Kyle Meyer starts from 6th. 7th is Curtis Hedden, then Dylan Thomas in 8th. Round out your top 10, it's Matthew Boniface and Mario Ercolani. Quickly, your next 10, it's Jackson Lewis, Donald Schmalfelt. Then car 12 of Garrett Maines, he's got some work to do. Cameron Iverson from 14th. Starting 15th is Jeffrey Eddy. 16th is Derek Lemke, he's not out yet. Starting 17th is Tyler Payne, also not out of this yet, just a lot of work to do. That's going to be tough to make up 13 spots that quickly. Gavin Fitzgerald from 18th position to round out your top 20. It's Dakota Todd and Justin Crow. Then your back 7 cars, Alex Bonsignor, Braxton DeWeese. Then Jake Grout and Curtis Sutton, followed up by Dylan McDonald and Lane Holder, and finally Hunter Gaines, all the way back in 27th position. We've got a blinking Kyle Storm as we get ready for the final preliminary green flag of the evening. 15 laps, 4 spots available. Green flag is out at North Wilkesboro for the Consolation race.
Big stack up in the back of the pack out of turn 2. They got one car around in the grass. Looks like a one-car spin. Maybe Bonsignor.
No caution yet. We stay green. Holzer, the race leader, Lawson 2nd, then Thronberg, and Meyer noses ahead for 4th, currently over Hughes in the 45. Those guys in the back like Garrett Maines, Derek Lemke, Dylan Thomas, Mario Kalani, Matthew Boniface, Tyler Payne, the list goes on. A lot of heartbreak in the heat races. Their work is in front of them. They've got to pass all these cars and get up to 4th right now, held by Kyle Meyer.
Pulling out all the stops. We're seeing a lot of 3 wide in some of these corners. Seeing it now off of turn number 2, mid-pack. They get through it okay, but they're still 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Jackson Lewis goes by, and on through. Here comes Garrett Maines, already to 7th. He started 13th. He's picked up 6 spots in 3 laps. And there's some contact in front of him. Here he goes to the inside, maybe of Jackson Lewis. He's looking for the 6th position. Backs out. That was wise. Kyle Storm, Derek Lemke side by side.
Later into the night we go here. The harder it's going to be passed.
Whoa! Contact!
We got trouble.
Maine's in trouble. Lemke in trouble. They're still stacking up. Caution. No caution. There it is. Finally, a caution flag is out. Oh, nobody wanted to lift.
Late caution didn't help that scenario. Guys, we're still digging.
That was troublesome. It starts with the 9 car of, I believe, well, we'll find out. It starts with the 45 of the 9 here. This is Ashton Lawson that gets turned around by the 45. And just up the racetrack, there's Garrett Maines, Derek Lemke. And nobody really had anywhere to go after that. Let's take a look from high above the blimp cam. This will tell all. Lawson just gets turned around. Contact there. That was for third, no fourth. Main's nowhere to go. Lemke, I see the 10. Wow, Heading got by in the pink 85. The 14 came flying in. I'm not sure exactly who that was. That was Gavin Fitzgerald. He might want to check the brake pedal. He came in from yards, miles back, it felt like, and made that situation just a little bit worse. Well, up front, we've got 5 laps complete. Still a 12-minute time limit. That gives these guys 5 fewer laps to get in 12 minutes. A little more time for the admins, for race control to review things if they need, but I think that was a little more cut and dry. Your top 4 currently for the restart will be Holzer. Then it looks like Thronberg in the 22. Meyer in the 88, and Lewis in the 7. Garrett Maines, all that contact, he's still going to restart fifth, Steve. He's got an opportunity here.
Maines didn't have a great heat by any stretch of the imagination, but he finds himself in the 5th spot here in the Consi, so he's got a good opportunity.
Let's watch this restart on turn 1 from his point of view. The driver's eye here from Garrett Maines, the pro driver. On the loud pedal, green flag back out, 10 laps to go in our consolation race.
Oh, we were almost 4 wide out of 2. Now it's only 3 wide out of 2. Mid-pack once again to get it squared away.
We'll stay up here with the transfer just in case anything happens. 1 lap complete from the restart. There goes Jackson Lewis to the inside of Blake Thronberg. Kyle Meyer in 4th, the last car currently in. Main's going to look to the inside. Meyer covers it off. Main's now to the top side of the racetrack as there's a side-by-side for 2nd. Lewis on the inside, Thronberg on the outside. They've got to be careful now, 8 to go. Very, very close. These 4 positions, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And not far back is Mario Ercolani in the 41. Main's up the racetrack ever so slightly. That could open the door for the 41 of Ercolani from New England. Kyle Storm in the balance. Matthew Boniface, Curtin Sutton, Tyler Payne, your top 10, Steve.
Holzer continuing to check out. It's almost a half second while this battle continues back behind. It's 4 cars all under a blanket. Lewis, Thornburg, Meyer, and Maines.
Track position going to be so important this evening. Meyer still hanging on to 4th, but here comes the first real good attempt from car 12. Garrett Maines to the inside, and the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series driver moves into a transfer position from the LCQ. The final one, that would be for 28th in our 28-car feature field. But it's not over. Kyle Meyer says, not so fast, I'm still here.
Great battle here, side by side, down into turn number 3. Maines drops it back to the bottom again.
That
White
time,
have the 88 clear out of the corner. He does.
That time he gets him clear. Protecting the inside is Garrett Maines. Meyer going to have to find another way by as Ercolani hangs in the balance. Storm there as well. Now Sutton and Boniface battle right ahead of Tyler Payne. Dakota Todd in this as well. Ercolani putting pressure there, and Kyle Meyer got to be careful. Those guys, teammates from the EPI camp. All while Jackson Lewis has run down the race leader of James Holzer. This could be a good battle for the top spot in the Consi. This is for 25th and 26th in the starting grid. Two laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for these guys. James Holzer trying to hang on over Jackson Lewis. A bobble that time from Holzer. And Lewis to the inside.
Holzer shuts the door. Lewis going to have to get another crack at it here. He's running out of time. White flag in the air.
Presented by Whiplash Simcams. 1 lap to go at North Wilkesboro Speedway for our consolation race in the final 4 positions in the feature event. James Holzer leading through 3 and 4. He's going to bring home the Consi win. 2nd is Lewis. 3rd is Thronberg. 4th is Garrett Maines. He's in. Everybody else is out. Kyle Meyer, Mario Ercolani, Kyle Storm, Curtis Sutton, Matthew Boniface, Tyler Payne. All complete your top 10 over Dakota Todd, Justin Crow, Jake Grout, Curtis Hedden, Derek Lemke, Jeffrey Eddy, Bailey Hughes, Dylan McDonald, Gavin Fitzgerald, Donald Smallfelt, Alex Bonsignor, Cameron Iverson, Ashton Lawson, Dylan Thomas, and Hunter Gaines. As I think I got the rest of the field. There we go.
Well done, sir. Well done.
I am far from an auctioneer, but I think that's as close as you'll ever get out of me. listing off all those drivers, and unfortunately will go home and not make our feature event for the first ever Elite Performance Industries Late Model Showdown. And as Tyler Payne billed it, the biggest late model stock race ever on iRacing.com. And sure, this version of the late model stock may only be about 5 days old, but that still says something, first of all. Also, the previous late model was a late model stock car, even if it wasn't called such. So this is the biggest event we've seen with this kind of car in a while. We've got a 100-lap feature event coming up. A big thank you to all of those who make this possible. Elite Performance Industries, powered by The Shop, Team 126 Racing, Coddle Captures, and Rocket iRace Wraps, and our partners here at Pit Stop TV doing so much for us, Whiplash Media Simcams, and Short Track Weekly, contributing to our effort this evening. Michael Bumgarner, the fastest so far in this warm-up session. You can see we are into sunset. No lights here, though, so we are racing darkness. Not often we see this on iRacing. It could get pretty dark. We don't have lights with the 1987 version. This is flirting with danger. Track temps, though, cooling off.
That's the question, though. What do we do here in that situation? Obviously, you've only got so much daylight to work with. Nature here, that's pushing it.
Well, you know what? I think that forces these guys to race how they want to get this race in, right? If they want to get all 100 laps in, they've got to keep things clean. And to a point, I actually really, really like that. I appreciate that from Tyler Payne this evening. It's up to these guys how many laps they complete, and he's done that before in events. I think back to EPI Speed Week back in December. It's up to these guys how many laps they complete. If they keep things clean, we get all 100 in. If they get a little messy, we might only get to, who knows, 75 before it gets completely dark or we can't race anymore. We'll see. As I say that, and it looks like...
Sun resets.
Did it completely reset?
I think it did, because we got plenty of sunshine now.
Or did clouds move? Because it was pretty cloudy before. The sun, I think, is still decently low in the sky. We'll take a look at it here in a moment. But let's go through our starting grid for all 28 starters. On pole, Caleb Hall. He won heat number 1. It's been a little while since he's been on track, yet he is starting from pole position. Ryan Kuhn will start from second. He won his heat. The other heat winners this evening, Timmy Holmes and Vicente Salas. Starting from 5th, that's Alex McCullum in car 01. Rocky Boyd from 6th. Then Michael Bumgarner and Landon S. Huffman will complete your top 8 starters, just ahead of Jacob Harberts and Josh Cottle completing your top 10, Steve.
11th starting position goes to Joel Smith. 12th will be Dustin Mumberket. Getting better. 13th is Spencer Dickinson. Chase Williamson will be 14th. 15th starting position goes to Dylan Calabro. Aaron Johnson. 17th, Cole Cabrey. 18th is Trevor Edwards. 19th starting position, Bradley Strickland and Kevin Amon in the 20th spot.
Starting 21st is Blade Timmons in car 30. 22nd is Corey Body. That is Jordan Corrin in the 23rd spot. Jacob Smith from 24th. And your back 4 from the Consolation race, James Holzer, Jackson Lewis, Blake Thronberg, and the pro, Garrett Maines.
To watch him start out back again, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, we did this earlier where we took a look at the final starting position, one of the heat races. Well, the field has over doubled. 28 cars, 100 laps for Maines to do something with it here. And the sun is still pretty low in the sky. You might be right, it might have reset a little bit. But we still don't have all day here. We are still in the evening, and it still could get pretty late by the time this 100 lapper is done. Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop this evening. Pit Stop TV, we certainly have appreciated it thus far. We will appreciate it for the next 100 laps, as you've got to be sticking with us for this one. 100 laps in the brand new late model stock car and iRacing, all from everybody's favorite short track, North Wilkesboro Speedway. Caleb Hall on pole, Ryan Kuhn outside pole, two of the best to do it in late models on iRacing. 100 laps, that's the distance. Green flag flies. We are racing at North Wilkesboro. First lap complete. Caleb Hall out front. Timmy Holmes second. Ryan Kuhn third. Then Chente in fourth. Rocky Boyd in fifth.
Oh, leader loses connection for a long time. He's still not back in.
That's going to change things up. There's Caleb Hall back finally as they stack up behind him. Rocky Boyd way up high, 3 wide, trying to get by him, and a caution flies. Jordan Corwin in the back. That might have just saved a lot of guys.
Not a good time for it to happen at the beginning of the race as you're leading and you don't know where you're going to land when you come back in.
Let's check this out here for the number 46 of Jordan Corwin. He's got Garrett Maines behind him. Maines to the inside. Oh, he went up the racetrack into Jackson Lewis. So Corwin trying to make room there makes a little too much room. And I'll be honest, if I saw Garrett Maines come to the inside at Wilkesboro, I think I might go up the racetrack a few lanes higher too.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, really. So I don't fault Jordan Corwin at all, especially lap 1. You get put 3 wide by somebody you know can hold it. I'd probably get way up out of the way up out of the way again as well. That will put Caleb Hall still in the race lead. Jordan Corwin is technically scored in first after his tow, but Timmy Holmes in second, Ryan Kuhn in fourth, Vicente Salas in fifth. They all kind of hang on. A lot happened, though, in those opening laps, and I wonder just how much this order kind of shook up and how things are going to be different when we take the green flag back here in a couple of moments. And only 2 laps complete, and really it was 1.05 maybe as we got just to the start-finish line when that caution came out.
Garrett Maines already up 4 positions from the drop of the green flag, so it's not where he wants to be at this point. We are still relatively early, but not a whole lot of laps out of the green flag. He's already picked off a few.
Worth mentioning, by the way, no change tires. You've got 4 tires at the start of this race. You better use them. You better take care of them, more importantly.
100%.
And that will not be easy. We checked out the weather earlier. 75 degrees or so in the air, 79 on the track, and it's coming down a little bit. It rose a bit during the heats, and it's starting to come back down.
Now, my experience, I know with the Goodyear tire, the first 10 laps and how you treat them kind of determine the rest of the race. I'm not super familiar with the Hoosiers that they're running here tonight. If that's kind of the same story or not, we'll have to see.
We'll find out. Caleb Hall on the inside, Timmy Holmes on the outside. Lap 3 underway. Vicente Salas quickly down to the inside for turn 1. And Rocky Boyd fills that gap. They check up. Landon Huffman checking up. Everybody gets through, though. And 1 lap complete from the restart. Everybody's still in it.
Battle for the 4th spot. Ryan Kuhn, Alex McCollum. Correction. Michael Baumgartner, Alex McCollum. Looks like Baumgartner might have the spot now.
That he does. The red 97 moves ahead, but McCollum's not done. Now, this is a couple of guys who have real racing experience. McCollum more so behind the wheel of a Legends car. Baumgartner in a dirt cart and a late model stock car as we've got contact. That was the 80 of Harbords getting moved around and blinking a little bit after contact with Rocky Boyd. Landon S. Huffman there in 9th. Let's go on board with him in the driver's eye. And Steve, there's a lot going on here. It's hard to break down, but do your best.
Well, just watching it from the on-car perspective, I mean, he's hard on the throttle on trying to get out of here, but the key to it is trying to straighten that car out off the corner so you can put the power down and not spin the thing out. I know these particular late model stocks, not quite as powerful as your super lates, but it's still something you have to master, A, to take care of the tires, and B, not swap ends on it.
Joel Smith moves to the inside of Huffman and will go by, it looks like, for the 10th position for now. Up front, things kind of fizzling out ever so slightly as there's actually a battle with Rocky Boyd and Jacob Harbert. Still really solid racing. Here's 1 car's around, and we're stacking them up. Garrett Maines in the middle gets tapped as Cole Cabry rolls, and we've got 2 cars on their side. It was nearly 3. One of those is Corey Body. The other is Jacob Smith, in the 3 car. And
he's almost got it righted.
On his lid, and the leaders are coming by. Yeah, at some point you just got to tow.
He almost had it.
Well, we've got a lot to look at for this one. Corey Body, car 44, kind of kickstarts this whole thing. Let's take a look here. Cole Cambry came up the racetrack, got into Body. That hooks Maines around as they were about 3 wide. Maines gets tagged again. Body gets hit. And just a lack of checking up from Thronberg and some others. That said, it's hard to stop these cars at a dime. One of the other big differences between a super late model and a straight rail late model stock car, not only the chassis, not only the motor, but the brakes. Much smaller brakes on these late model stock cars, and that's why you see guys like Josh Berry go on from late model stocks and be so good on NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, especially at places like Martinsville where he got that win not so long ago, and those kind of lower downforce, higher speed speedways like Las Vegas where he's won. Small brakes, not much to hang on to with the car. They're not easy to drive into the corner. You've got to really manage your stuff, and especially for a NASCAR stock car at Martinsville, that's why he's so good. That is why he's so good.
Knowing how to take care of them and make them last length of that whole race so that you can abuse them in the final 10 or 15 laps if you have to, it makes a huge difference, especially if you're in contention for a win later on.
You see Cambry force the issue in 1 and slides up out of 2, gets into Body. I wonder if he knew he was up there. Body's there, and then in comes the 84 and the 22. He was locked up admittedly. He was on the brakes, just not able to stop in time. It does happen quickly. This puts Caleb Hall, while still in control, keeps him in control, as it looks like he will opt to start from the outside of row 1. That puts Timmy Holmes on the inside. I at least don't recall them swapping positions. I would imagine that's how this is working. I don't recall them changing spots for the race lead. But Holmes is leading into 3. So maybe there was a swap that we just missed right as that caution came out. Regardless, it's Holmes and Hall the front row. And they fire equally. I think Holmes has got the race lead. He pulls away. Green flag is back out. Far from a white flag. We've got 90 some odd laps to go.
Ryan Kuhn running in the 3rd spot. He's got pressure to the outside. It's the number 97 of Bumgardner.
Into turn 3, the top 6 or so single file. Rocky Boyd, the first car with a car on his outside. That is Jacob Harberts. 9 laps complete. A good look here from Boyd's onboard. You can see Harberts up top. And Ryan Kuhn. A little bit of contact there from Michael Bumgardner. Side by side they go, and Bumgardner's got the spot for the time being. That is for 3rd spot.
And clear.
Oftentimes in the Cars Tour, we see 125 lap races or so. Sometimes on bigger tracks like Wilkesboro, it might be 100. This is a bigger track, a longer race, but still 1 set of tires for 100 laps. That's a long time. And quite frankly, usually we see drivers in the Cars Tour sit back. They will save their stuff, maybe even pace around in those longer races to save their stuff for later on. We're not seeing that in this race, and I wonder how that's going to impact things, if we will still see comers and goers, if we see everybody just kind of go all at once. I do wonder. I am curious as to exactly how the dynamic of this race is going to evolve over the course of these next 95 or so laps. 85 or so laps all the way to the checkers this evening, as we've got 87 to go.
You know, you say that, Andrew, and then you think about Ryan Coons, and maybe that's the situation that he's in right now. Is he's, I'm not going to go out here and fight Bumgardner super hard for this position. I'm not going to chew up my stuff. Save something for later on. It is still really early. We've had a caution or 2 here. Maybe he's in that tire conservation mode already.
First side-by-side I can find on the racetrack is here with Dickinson and Johnson. Now Holzer is going to have a front row view to Trevor Edwards trying to pass Spencer Dickinson. That is for 14th, and it happens quick. So now Holzer will have an opportunity actually at that spot as he sits back in the 6 car. And I think just about the entire field is single file currently at North Wilkesboro Speedway. One thing about Wilkesboro, it's a driver's racetrack. It demands a lot physically from these guys. It can get very racy, but it can also get single file like this and be kind of a conga line for a little bit. And it's difficult to actually take advantage of what comes next for these guys. We saw one driver pound the outside wall. I think that was Aaron Johnson, as there goes Thronberg into Jackson Lewis. No, not Jackson Lewis, Kevin Ammon, rather. So you're seeing the driver aspect, being a driver's track further in the back of the field, but up front you see the fact that there's just nowhere to go right now. You want to save tires. This place eats up tires still. It's a multi-dynamic race, we'll say.
And watching it here from a wider view, you're looking at the top 12, 15 maybe. They're all running single file. We've got a couple of side-by-side battles at the back half of the pack, but nothing too significant. I think everybody's starting to settle into a rhythm, into a groove. Kind of take care of the equipment here and see what kind of long run we can get out of this.
This is a fun view from our drone cam. The field goes away. They come back on the front stretch. Bumgarner with McCullum behind. That's third and fourth. Further back, some battles. Here we go. Aaron Johnson, James Holzer. You can see they are all stacked up back here, and they're coming at us quick in the backstretch. It's lap 20 of 100, about a fifth of the way, and here comes Holzer to make it 3 wide. He backs out. Wise choice, but there's 3 wide behind with Garrett Maines and others. Lap 20 complete, but look at this racing. This is good stuff.
Garrett Maines running in that 20th position even after his issues on the back straightaway. A little bit of right side damage, but he's still working his way towards the front.
Blake Thronberg is that 22 car leading this little pack of cars. Jackson Lewis up top in the black 7. We've got the 13 of Josh Cottle as well. He's having to really fight through this evening as Thronberg got all kinds of squirrely. Maines is going to take advantage. He sails it underneath for 17th spot. And what's funny about this is Garrett Maines has been through the ringer this evening. He could still win this race.
Oh, absolutely. He's got time to do it. He's got to take care of his stuff. He can't be too aggressive to work his way all the way back up to the front. But if he balances that out nicely, he's going to be a contender.
Thronberg and Ammon here. This is for 18th position. And far from done. Meanwhile, further up in the field, Jacob Harber's Rocky Boyd, they're no longer double file, no longer side by side, but the battle is just as strong as they ride in front of Mom Burkett and Joel Smith. And a few weeks ago, these guys wouldn't have been teammates, Mom Burkett and Smith. Now you can see they each have the race EPI logos on their car. Mom Burkett coming over from the shop, and Joel Smith staying here at EPI. Really an interesting dynamic, but again, these guys are going to go win some races. Elite Performance Industries in the shop, they are going to put some winning setups together, winning races together. It's more than just the setups, it's more than just the driving. It's so much that goes on over at EPI. It is a culture, more or less. It is a culture as we finally get past our first quarter of racing here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and the sun is low. But it's a culture over there. And bringing in guys from the shop, Trevor Edwards, Dustin Mombercat, and others, it's going to change things big time for the better.
You know, speaking of EPI and their setups a while back when the trucks were running the officials at Canadian Tire, obviously it's a road course, things are a little bit different, but I ran a bunch of officials there with another fellow racer, Zach Millett, and the guys that would consistently contend were the EPI guys, and they knew it because it was written all over the trucks.
The advertising is stellar. Really good job from those guys. As here comes Williamson on the inside of Joel Smith, at least taking a look. And I will say, that kind of stellar advertising is relatively consistent across the board. I mean, even here, watching from Williamson's perspective, you can make out that race EPI logo on the back end of Joel Smith's machine. But setup shops do that in general. You see them plastered all over the cars. And definitely, you can tell who's racing for who when you load into any kind of oval race, especially. But even we're seeing the auto setups, GT4, GT3 from these different setup shops. And everybody's expanding. EPI, the best of the bunch. It's lap 30 of 100. We near the 1/3 mark as Trevor Edwards sits in 12th following Chase Williamson, who we were just on board with. Dustin Mombercat in the 9th spot.
Majority of the field single file here, again, as we expected them to do, getting into a groove, into a rhythm, take care of their stuff. We're not even halfway.
Meanwhile, look at this guy leading. Timmy Holmes in car 6. And I'll be honest with you, I've got little tidbits of knowledge over my years of short track coverage. Little things I know about these guys across the field. This is somebody I don't know anything about. Timmy Holmes, where did he come from? Don't know the name, don't know where he came from, don't know who he races with. He's running a mock Brad Keselowski paint scheme on this vehicle. King's Hawaiian rolls, and I will say, there's some of those in the kitchen right now. I can't wait to destroy them after this race. I need them, honestly. a great looking car for sure. As we hit the 1/3 mark, 33 laps complete. But where did this guy come from? He's dominated so far. 26 laps led now. Only 7 have gone to another driver. I believe all of those going to Caleb Hall. And he's driven away, and he's maintaining now over the 9 car of Hall, really holding a solid lead. And with Caleb Hall having company here from Michael Bumgarner and Alex McCullum, those are 2 guys you cannot take lightly. This is going to get fun for second. I think Holmes is in good company for right now on his own.
In watching those guys, second, third, and fourth, you almost got to wonder, are they just riding right now? Again, we've talked about guys saving their stuff till it really counts. Yes, they're fast. They're up in those top 4 positions. But are they saving their stuff? They letting Timmy Holmes get away here on purpose?
It's a possibility. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier, where in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, more often than not, you'll see guys at the front, at least that start at the front, have that kind of pace, right? They will lay back at the start, and they will let the younger guys, and this was very evident in 2021. Caden Honeycutt's a guy that's been in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series now for a couple of years. He's made his first few truck starts, racing this season with Corey Roper Motorsports, and doing a great job of furthering his racing career. But before he was that accomplished short track racer with wins at Orange County last year and everywhere else, he had to learn pretty quickly. Guys like Josh Berry, they would lay back on the start of the race. They would save their stuff and watch as guys like Caden Honeycutt would go on by. Even Bobby McCarty, teammate at the time to Caden Honeycutt, would watch as a 12 car flew on by, and then 50 laps later, Caden Honeycutt got caught back up and would lose those spots later in the race. And he learned pretty quick that season that he had to save his stuff early for the back end of the race. I don't know if we're going to have the same cautions this evening. The Cars Tour has kind of a policy where after 40 laps of green flag racing, they bunch the field back up. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of thing here. We're not going to see those kinds of yellows. We don't have those kind of competition yellows, if we will. So this race could go green the next 60 laps, and Holmes could still walk away. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think there's something to be said right now for sitting back and waiting, saving your stuff. And quite frankly, more on that point, Steve, and then I'll finally let you talk again. Caleb Hall right now could be backing up to Bumgarner and McCullum and just going just fast enough to stay in front of them, but no faster. And he would really be saving more stuff than the guys behind him.
Yeah, because the guys behind him are going to have to be kind of reactionary to Caleb and what he does. When he gets on the brakes, and if he's going a little bit shallower than you were, you got to jump on the brakes, which is going to put more force into those tires. It's going to wear them out a bit quicker, and eventually over the course of the long run, that's a benefit to the leading driver in that particular pack.
Been watching these guys up front for a while. Let's check back in around the top 10 cutoff, if you will. Rocky Boyd still out front of Harberts and Momberket. Chase Williamson in the 10th spot over Joel Smith. Not much changing, a lot of riding right now. These guys know what's at stake. $300 for winning this race. That can't be taken lightly. Although we do have a side-by-side battle for second. Finally, Bumgarner took the move. He's the inside of Caleb Hall, and he wants second away. And you also, I think the other part of this is Bumgarner sees the gap has grown. It's now a second from these guys in second and third and fourth all the way up to your race leader. They have to race at some point. They can't keep laying back. They can't let Timmy Holmes get so far ahead that even on old, worn-out tires, he's able to stay ahead of these guys. And now, them racing is slowing them down even more.
Yeah, Caleb's fighting back here. He wants that second spot still. Like to be in charge of those 3 cars. Not going to be the case. It looks like Bumgarner is going to run away here and take this spot for good, at least for a while. But he also almost opened the door for McCullum. McCullum was looking to the inside, didn't quite have the option to make a pass, but certainly the door was open, had an opportunity, didn't take it.
Dylan Calabro, the car up top, the slow car. He'll let these guys go on by, and look who's rejoined the chat. Ryan Kuhn in the 72. Vicente Salas, I think, will be joining the chat very, very soon. Bumgarner lost about 3/10 in that exchange with the 9 car of Hall, and now McCullum and Kuhn, 2 of the best to do it in a late model stock car in iRacing, they're going to go at it.
We talked about earlier with Kuhn maybe saving his stuff as well. Might be starting to see that come into play here. Again, we're not quite halfway, so it's not quite time to really go, but again, as you said, Andrew, Timmy Holmes is starting to really stretch it out here. It's 1.3 seconds to the rest of the field here. You can't let them get too far out in front, because then you've got to burn up your stuff just to catch them, and then you've got nothing left to make any passing later on. He's just got you covered at that point.
We haven't talked about it in a while, but next lap, at the completion thereof, we will award the Tyler Hughes Motorsports Halfway Leader Award. As Ryan Kuhn goes to the inside of McCullum, McCullum recognizes that, and that is a veteran move, letting Ryan go on by and take that spot away. Let the Wookiee win, as I say. It's going to save your stuff, going to put you in a better spot if you just let that guy go and recenter yourself and get back after him. But here we go. The race leader, Timmy Holmes, will come around and take the Tyler Hughes Motorsports Halfway Leader Award. That's $25 in his pocket. A big thank you to Tyler Hughes Motorsports for putting up that extra cash here, going straight to the 6 car this evening as he just led lap number 50. But now you're starting to see Bumgarner work his way maybe closer to that 6 car. He's driving away from Caleb Hall, that's for sure.
Taking the words right out of my mouth there, Andrew. He's about a half a tenth a lap faster right now than Holmes. He's slowly starting to chip into that lead.
Slow car there on the inside, the 84. That was Bradley Strickland, and that is going to be, oh, that's problemsome. That could be a caution. He has got to get off the racetrack. This is a really bad spot. And drivers, this is why you never want to slow down on one part of the racetrack, because while you slow down and get out of the way in the backstretch, get low, when you go into the corner, guess what? You're in the way. And that is a learning moment, I think. Thankfully, nothing bad came out of that, but you've got to be so careful. And here's Jacob Smith. Hopefully he doesn't make the same mistake. If anything, go high. Stay high. You never want to get low because then you're in the racing line in the corner.
So with the 84 hitting pit lane here, of course, there are no tires to be changed to speak of. You can only take fuel. But the question I have, what is the pit window as far as fuel? Are these drivers going to have to make at least one fuel stop tonight?
We're going all 100 laps.
Oh, boy.
We are set.
So here's the other question in relationship to that. Say we do get a caution. Obviously, again, still can't change tires, but fuel has weight to it. Certainly can change the balance of a race car. Do you see anybody taking an opportunity to put fuel in to change the balance of the car?
You know, it's a really good question. I think in a road race, even if we got full course yellows in a road race, that would be on the table. In this case, I think track position is too valuable. Unless you wad up enough cars where you're down to about 10 or so, I don't think there's really any benefit to that. And even then, unless you're already back there. Maybe if you are somebody towards the rear, you can do it. But I just don't think there's going to be any validity to that. You're going to lose too many spots in the pit lane. You move too slowly with these late model stock pit crews. They're not NASCAR pit crews, that's for sure, as we near 40 laps to go. This fight for the 3rd spot. Caleb Hall, Ryan Kuhn, Alex McCullum, and Chente is closing in.
He certainly got me pegged, Andrew. Definitely a road racing guy. I'm always thinking strategy. But here we got an on-track battle. Again, Kuhn in that 4th position, trying to take it away from Caleb Hall, who was leading for a while, but not the case anymore.
While these guys kind of set themselves up for a fight, let's check in with Chase Williamson, Rocky Boyd, and others. Williamson finally got by these guys, moved up to 7th, ahead of Boyd and Harberts. Mombercat has filled the 10th spot. Trevor Edwards through to 11th, and look at that, Garrett Maines into 12th position. If we get a caution, a bunch of these guys back up. Maines still in this race. Edwards still in this race. Mombercat, all these guys still in it, as Landon S. Huffman will go by Joel Smith, and Josh Cottle gets by Spencer Dickinson. So long run is setting in for these drivers as we hit lap number 60 of 100. Next time by will be 60% of the way through this race, as Holmes still leads, and still by 1.3 seconds. I think, and this is a big think, this is not a no, but I think Caleb Hall backing these guys up and these guys trying to save was to the detriment of all of them. If this race goes green, I don't know if they can catch a 6 car.
It's still about 1.3 seconds. We saw him shave down some of it down to a 10th, but it's not the case. He's gotten all that back. The last laps, though, Bumgarner was just a tick faster than Holmes. Again, it's marginal. It's going to take a lot more than that to really close down the gap, but they're running very close lap times. The 69 for Holmes, 67 for Bumgarner.
Steve, I just want to say thank you so much for covering here this evening. It has been a pleasure having you along for the ride. Always is here at Pit Stop TV. I know you're a road course guy. You say you're a road course guy, but you definitely know your oval racing as well, as there goes Bumgarner by the 46 car of Jordan Corrin.
Well, we've talked about it a bunch. I'm a road course guy, but specifically running stock cars on road courses seems to be the most fun for me. But I'm a bit of a hybrid. I grew up just outside Watkins Glen, so of course we went to the NASCAR races, and I guess I got the road racing bug mixed with the NASCAR bug, so it's kind of best of both worlds.
Whoa, Garrett Maines and Dustin Mombercat, they just had a moment out of turn 2. Mombercat trying to hang on for 10th. Maines wants it. Meanwhile, Landon S. Huffman has gone by Trevor Edwards, so something I think recently happened to the 32 car. He was looking really good in the first half of this race. Now he's starting to slide. You see, he was as high as the 11th position, so he just lost a couple there.
Garrett Maines, though, sniffing that top 10 here, lap 66. Incredible.
Let's track his race today. Started 28th, dead last. Was the final transfer out of the LCQ. And, well, of course, he's been as low as 28th. This is the highest he's been all day after being involved in that opening yellow. 11th position, going for 10th here in Montburquet. I think showing why he is a pro.
You know, it's got to make you wonder, too, is where exactly you think he would be at this point in the race if he was not involved in that incident. Of course, he does have a little bit of right side damage, but it's more about the track position lost in that particular incident that slowed him down a bit. Would he be in the top 5 at this point? We don't know. Of course, it's all hindsight, but he seems to have the pace. You never know. He could have been there.
I have now learned exactly who Timmy Holmes is. Thank you, Corey Body. Timmy Holmes, I'm not sure how this guy flew under my radar. He is a pro driver as well, and I didn't even check the license. I guess I would have seen that if I had looked over. Timmy Holmes, the new driver of the number 6, I think taking over for Colin Keister, who vacated that ride. That is big in the NASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series, taking over. That explains the Brad Keselowski paint, by the way, as well, from RFK Racing. That explains the Chrome number 6. You know how we were just saying Garrett Maines is showing right now why he's got a black license? Timmy Holmes, I think, even more so, showing why he's got one. 63 laps led.
You look at Garrett Maines, another pro driver. Vincente Salas, another pro driver. These guys into that top 10. Garrett Maines just now freshly into that top 10. It's going to be fun to watch here. Again, we're at lap 71 of 100, so we're getting down to crunch time. But these guys, we always say it, cream rises to the top, and it's doing just that here at North Wilkesboro.
Especially when you give 20 and 25 of the best late model stock car drivers on the sim 100 laps to figure this out. We have been green, by the way, for about 70. We had a caution on lap 2. So, yeah, green now for 70 consecutive laps. No, sorry, we did have a caution afterwards, so not 70. So we had a second yellow. I don't recall exactly where that was, but it was still real early. Call it 65 consecutive laps or so. And, yes, I will knock on wood. I don't want to jinx this, but fantastic racing. So many good battles like this that you've got in the back of the field without incident. This could be one, though, as, Joel Smith was digging sideways there out of the corner, side by side with Harberts, it looks like. Harberts has fallen back quick. He's now to 15th position, as here comes Josh Cottle playing the long game.
You know, if you had said at that point we'd go this long under the green flag without an incident, looking at the way some of these heats went tonight with much smaller fields, I would not have put money on that. But these guys have made it work. They've figured it out. Again, the field's pretty well stretched out at this point, so everyone's minding their P's and Q's. You
said it. The cream rises to the top. They did so in the heat races. The cream moved on, and this is the best.
Now, interesting, too, we talked about not being able to take tires. There are no sets over the wall, but the last lap time for our leader, Timmy Holmes, in 1880, his fastest lap of the day, only 4/10 shy of that. So not a ton of fall off with these Hoosiers, so that's interesting to see.
I think the biggest thing that changes is grip, because these guys are fighting the cars where they weren't on cold tires, on new tires, as Joel Smith takes over from Trevor Edwards in the 13th position. James Holzer and Blake Thronberg, they battle here. Holzer won the LCQ to move on. Contact a little bit. They race for the 17th spot. Holzer will take a look to the inside as Vicente Salas just moved on by Alex McCullum. And we had the pleasure of speaking with Alex McCullum on Saturday evening, nearly a week ago now, and asking him exactly what he thought of this brand new car being added in, the new late model stock car taking over from the old one. And he was a pro, an ace in the old car. Won the final round of the AIRL Martin PC Late Model Showdown that we covered here on Pit Stop TV the last few weeks. Won the final race at South Boston. And he knew there was going to be some adjustment. He even mentioned that he might not be the fastest out of the bag. He might have some adjusting to do. We're seeing that. He's got some adjusting to do as we watch a side-by-side battle for third, Ryan Kuhn on Caleb Hall. But McCullum, I would have thought, would be leading this race at this point in the show with 80 laps complete this time by. Instead, he is 6th and losing time on a long run.
kind of talked about it early on, guys. It may or may not be chewing up their stuff earlier than need be. It appears that maybe McCollum is in that boat.
And as this run has gone on, Bumgarner has lost more and more time. He initially made up a 10th, and I think that was Timmy Holmes' sign to just go off and start driving away as Kuhn moves into the top 3. Bumgarner has gone from 1.2 seconds back, I think, at their closest margin, to nearly 3 seconds back. 2.9, there's 3.
Holmes still running some pretty quick laps, though. An 18.66 the last time across the stripe.
It's a 10th quicker. Literally exactly a 10th quicker than Bumgarner. That is big. He keeps stretching those legs.
Fun fact, though, Ryan Kuhn ran the same lap time as Timmy Holmes the last time. That was just after taking over that 3rd spot.
Yeah, a 1/1000th of a second difference. That's the same as there goes Kevin Ammon. We are going to have a yellow.
Just what everybody needed.
I was just about to ask, how much do you think these guys in 2nd, 3rd, 4th want a yellow to have a chance here at Timmy Holmes? Well, they've got one. We're going to find out how much they want it. Kyle Ammon in trouble. He had some contact there with, I believe that was Harberts he was racing with. No, rather Thornburg had the slide out of turn 4. Let's check all of this here as, man, Thornburg, he has been all over the place this evening and finally not able to hang on to this one. There's a 22 car out of turn 4. Tank slapper on the bottom side here. Kevin Ammon up top, and yeah, that 22 swapped ends.
Just too shallow of an entry there for the 22 after having an issue trying to save it out of 4, and it just sent him up the racetrack.
Looks like maybe a disqualification afterwards for incidents for Thornburg, I would imagine. Let's watch this from Kevin Ammon's perspective, driver's eye. Driver out of New Jersey, just minding his own business. 20 laps to go, and there goes the 22 into him. Ammon just tries to hang on. Contact there. And that was Jacob Smith that got him in the rear.
So we've been under the green quite a while. Of course, now we are under caution. How much tire temperature do we expect to see saved here from green flag conditions to now? Is it significant enough to make a massive difference, or is it more about the track position?
We've got a car headed down the pit lane. Okay, that was Calibro. That's a lapped car. But look at where, as Ryan Kuhn just went by and Michael Bumgarner. Look at where some of these guys are running. You see the 23, he's a lap car. That's why he's way up there. But Bumgarner the last time through 3 and 4 was all the way up on all the marbles. And usually you'd have hot, sticky tires. You want to stay as far away from those marbles as possible. But on iRacing, those marbles don't stick to your tires. Instead, that is cooler racetrack. Bumgarner just ran all the way up there to cool his tires down a little bit and pull some temperature away. That's how much it matters. Track temp, by the way, 81 degrees. Not too hot, but hot. Hot enough for these tires anyway. Green flag is back out. We've got 16 laps to go in the EPI late model showdown from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Bumgarner and everybody else finally has a chance at the 6 car. Let's see what they can do with Timmy Holmes.
Bumgarner drove it way deep into turns 3 and 4, almost made contact with Holmes. Holmes does stretch it out about a half car length down into turn 1, continues to lead.
You see the whole top 10. Rocky Boy got into Landon S. Huffman a little bit. Chente and Garrett Main saving the car that time out of turn 2, and it's a side-by-side once again with Ryan Kuhn and Caleb Hall out of the corner side-by-side as we hit 14 to go.
Kuhn with a nose out in front off of turn number 2, still a drag race down the backstretch into turn number 3. Meanwhile, the battle behind them, the 55 and the 40.
Whoa, there we go.
Trouble turn 4.
Landon S. Huffman around, and we are stacking them up out of the 4th corner. I think Rocky Boyd might have made a little too much contact, and I might be wrong. We'll go to the replay to verify, but he got that 28 car jacked up last time. And sure enough, Rocky Boyd a little deep potentially here into the 3rd corner. Let's go back and take a look at it. This from the tower, you'll be able to see just how far into the corner the 25 goes, and he just closes, gets into the 28, and Landon Huffman goes around.
What's the saying, Andrew? Cautions breed cautions?
That they do. Suddenly it's go time. We had 70 laps of waiting around to see what's going to happen next, who's going to make a mistake, who's going to save tires. Those 70 laps of doing so are over. We got a caution, bunch the field back together. We're going to race for it. As this was the contact, see the 28 go around. And Landon S. Huffman, nothing that he could do. You see Ammon get involved. A few other cars just sliding in. Joel Smith went around. That was a really rough accident, actually. Oh, man.
Even after the fact.
A really rough accident, mostly for Joel Smith and Trevor Edwards. Well, I say that for EPI. They just lost 2 of their drivers that were in the top 12 or so, maybe top 15 to that yellow. And there you see Bumgardner way up the racetrack again. He's trying to cool those tires off.
Not the only one doing it. Seen a couple cars up on the high side trying to do the same.
Kuhn and Williamson both, notably. There he goes, way up there. This is the view from the nose of the car. Look at all these marbles on the racetrack. I know it's not a perfect rendering, but especially right there in 4, you can see them. A lot of black dots. Thankfully, in iRacing, those don't stick to your tires. In the real world, you wouldn't be able to do this because they would. You'd have hot, sticky tires, cold rubber. The hot, sticky tires would pick up all those marbles, and that is the last thing you want to have happen. It would feel like you're on off-road tires with how chunky everything would be.
It's like a rubber lint roller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect, I think, analogy right there. It's like rolling a lint roller over some dog or cat hair or something. All the particles it picks up, that's like what it would do. In this case, it's these guys trying to cool their tires down, running on the cool racetrack. That's why you saw them dip to the inside on the straightaway. 13 laps to go. Green flag back out. Timmy Holmes still in first as we race down to the first corner. Bumgardner sends it that time. He's going to try and stay alongside the 6 car.
46 loosened the fence off turn number 2. He's going to be on his lid. Nope, he's not. Rode the racetrack on the side, and we have no caution. Continues on. He's at the back of the pack, so no traffic to be concerned with, but a scary ride.
Look at Bumgardner. He's on the outside still of Timmy Holmes. He's held the 6 car back just enough to keep this side by side. Here comes Kuhn. Caleb Hall still on his inside, and that time Bumgardner got in too deep. Hall at the racetrack, contact for 3rd. And Holmes now is clear. Bumgardner once again, 11 laps to go.
Ryan Kuhn on the outside of the 9, trying to clear for that 3rd position. Down the backstretch, he's got it clear. Dives it to the bottom, picks the spot. I wouldn't say with ease, but he's going to roll on and try and pressure Bumgardner for the 2nd position.
Look at Garrett Maines on the inside of Chente here to turn 1. Williams backwards almost into the first corner. Maines on the inside. He takes 3 spots away in the course of a lap if he can clear these guys, and he's going to try into turn 3. Racing with McCullum as we had 10 to go the last time. It'll be 9 to go this time, and they sort out that 3 wide. Vicente Salas, man, he's putting that recent late model experience to work as he tries to hang on right now. 7th racing with McCullum.
Incredible driving. 3 wide for almost half a lap at North Wilkesboro in the late model. How do you do that and still stay under the green flag?
Just like they just did. Oh, Williams gets in the back of McCullum. They hang on to things as now Caleb Hall is taking a look at Ryan Kuhn saying, I wish I was still there. Meanwhile, wow, Garrett Maines, purple that time at 18-3. He saved his stuff. He's in the 5th. Don't write him out of the podium. There he is on Caleb Hall.
Incredible drive by Garrett Maines. He's up 23 positions from the start of this race. He's used every lap under the green flag to try and work his way up to where he is at. He's done a great job of it.
Well, if you're out there and you have communication with the 12 car, tell them to join the Pit Stop TV Discord regardless. We've got to talk to him and ask him about this as we now have a side-by-side for 2nd. Kuhn drove to the inside of Bumgardner. And we have got a battle for the next best spot as Holmes has just been way too good. And there goes the 72 of Kuhn. He gets by as a caution flies. Jacob Harbert's in trouble on the backstretch. And we are not done yet. By the way, I want to mention that Caden Honeycutt guy that's running the Cars Tour, now in the Truck Series with Roper Motorsports. Yeah, he's also an eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series driver. He is Timmy Holmes' teammate in the number 17 for RFK Racing. So there is some strong short track blood over there with the 6 and 17 cars, and we're seeing it this evening as there goes Harberts. I wonder if that was maybe a little bit of give up and storm out. I'm not accusing him of making that intentional. It looked like a driver being frustrated and kind of letting it go around.
Tough to say exactly. I know if you're kind of low on the exit of these corners with these cars, especially on older tires, If you get to the throttle just a tick too soon, it's very easy to do that. We saw it a lot with the super late model. Of course, they've got a whole lot more power, but tough to say.
Staying in fourth gear here, Timmy Holmes trying to keep engine temps down. I think he's putting the clutch in as well a little bit, trying to save some fuel. So I think there's something to what you mentioned about trying to keep weight in the car. Just a matter of you don't want to come in and do that. You don't want to come in for fuel. Also, Bumgarner is going to hang on to second in that fight with Kuhn. I think that is real important. We've seen Bumgarner be real strong on these restarts, whether it's what he's doing here under yellow, running up in the marbles to cool those tires down, or something else. He's been real good off the top side, restarting second.
Well, with that said, too, Ryan Kuhn's going to restart right behind the 6 of Holmes. If Holmes gets a good jump and Kuhn can time it just right, he might be able to pin the 97 on the top lane, try to take advantage. We'll see how it pans out for the 72.
I see a few other of these guys. Yeah, I see Ken Byron reaching out as well. Ken, I appreciate your help. I guess I got to watch more of those eNASCAR races because, yeah, Timmy Holmes, I think, should have been on my radar already. But he is now. Car 6, man, he has been absolutely fantastic. Won his heat race, has been out front for how many laps consecutively? 85 now since taking the race lead. Let's see if he can make it 5 more, as we'll have 5 laps to go this time by. Waiting on the green flag, single file restart, that's going to shake things up. Green flag for one of the final times this evening at North Wilkesboro. Let's see if it's the money restart. And of course that single file takes away the advantage of the 97 being up top. Makes it a whole lot easier on your race leader of Timmy Holmes. See these guys pop at the curb, they are digging.
Ryan Kuhn not getting the restart that he needed to get alongside the 97 of Holmes. Sorry, Bumgarner, that is. Hoffman goes fastest, 18.328, the number 28.
3 laps to go. Garrett Maines through to 4th spot. As there's Caleb Hall trying to hang on. Josh Cottle, the drive to the field is finally Timmy Holmes goes up there and goes purple. Josh Cottle has put together a fantastic drive as well. We'll recap all of this here soon as we have popsicle sticks this time by. 2 laps to go in the Elite Performance Industries late model showdown at North Wilkesboro Speedway. This, the battle for second.
Kuhn all over the back bumper of the 97 of Bumgarner. Gets him loosened up here a little bit into turn 3. He's going to look to the inside. Nothing doing there for Ryan Kuhn, or is there? Puts the power down alongside out of turn number 4. White flag in the air.
Garrett Maines is here. He could go for second if he wants to. Up front, though, it's all Timmy Holmes. Kuhn through to second. Maines is going to make it 3 wide on the inside. Can he make it stick down there? He's got third. He's racing up here for second as the winner. Timmy Holmes does it from the number 6 car. I'm sorry. I just got caught up in the whole Garrett Maines thing. He just misses for second, but Timmy Holmes, domination. There was a lot happening. I think I just understated the fact that he led 90 consecutive laps over some of the best to ever do it in an iRacing late model. Brand new car, legendary racetrack. The Elite Performance Industries late model showdown simply couldn't disappoint, and it didn't. Timmy Holmes the victory lane after leading 90 consecutive laps. He started third, won his heat race, and never looked back.
Impressive run. Very impressive run. And you know what? I kind of like his number.
Well, the 6 car going to victory lane this evening. We've seen that a few times on Pit Stop TV before, just never with this guy behind the wheel. Timmy Holmes, the strongest drive I think I've ever seen on a late model on iRacing. That was simply amazing.
Very impressive drive. Really, out of all these drivers, 100 laps at North Wilkesboro. Yeah, we had cautions, which we would have expected to see, but they were not plentiful, and just some fast drivers, some good racing, some good decisions, and just a great finish to watch as well.
We finished as the sun set here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Let's take a look through our unofficial race results from the first ever Elite Performance Industries late model showdown this evening from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Finishing first, hey, it's 6 car Timmy Holmes by a little over a second in that short run to the finish, only 5 laps, and he put 1.1 seconds on Ryan Kuhn. Garrett Maines there in third, completes your top 3. by just the slightest margin there for second and third. Bumgardner goes fourth after a long time in second. Cottle somehow drives through this field and finishes fifth. Caleb Hall, they were in sixth. Chase Williamson in seventh. Then it's Vicente Salas, Jackson Lewis, Dustin Mombercat, three really good drivers. Just not the best of nights for those guys. They will finish just inside the top 10.
11th was Kevin Amon. Trevor Edwards brought it home in the 12th spot. 13th went to Landon S. Huffman. 14th, Alex McCullum. Strong run early, just didn't have what it took to make the car last to the end. 15th was Joel M. Smith. Rocky Boyd III was 16th. James Holzer 17th. Spencer Dixon took it home in the 18th spot. Blade Timmons was 19th. Jacob Smith 20th.
21st, Dylan Calbro. Hey, he made the show 2 laps down. He still ran all the laps that he could. Jacob Harberts out after that last yellow. Aaron Johnson finishes 23rd, 8 laps down, and then a lot of heartbreak here for these guys. Jordan Corn in the 46, Blake Thronberg in the 38, and Bradley Strickland, Cole Cavery, and Corey Body, your 28 starters. But hey, they all made the show. That's a big accomplishment in and of itself in a race like this, an evening like this. One of the strongest fields I think we'll ever see in the late model stock car. Let's see, we had a winning I rating of 6,700, a second place I rating of 10,500. Garrett Maines in third, 9,200, then 59 for Michael Bumgardner, 6,900 for fifth place Josh Cottle. I mean, one of the strongest fields you could draw up for late model stocks at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We even had a few guys down there like me, around 15, 1,600. Shout out to those guys, one of those being Bradley Strickland at 1,623. Shout out to you guys who were maybe fighting above your weight class this evening, still did a fantastic job and made the show. That is simply, I think, a big-time accomplishment. Well, let's bring in your top 3 drivers of the evening. Timothy Holmes in car number 6. Timmy Holmes, I'll be honest, I should have had you on my radar. Admittedly, I didn't. That's on me. But you put yourself on my radar this evening. 90 laps led, all consecutive through restarts in that long green flag run. What kind of feeling gave you this kind of drive this evening in this late model stock car at North Wilkesboro?
I don't really know what to say. I didn't expect to be that good, but I felt like I should have been on pole in qualifying to start all of it, and messed up a little bit and still ended up third, and then obviously started third in the feature, and I knew I just needed to get to the lead. After the heat race, I knew the car was going to be good, and I mean, I got to thank everybody that worked on it. Jackson Crowder, he was supposed to be running this race and couldn't get here, but him, Caleb, Hall, everybody at Rika, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it could have got any better than that.
I don't think it could have either, especially winning your heat race, starting third, taking early advantage over guys like Caleb Hall. What was it like, I guess, that early run after you took over the race lead? Just trying to pull away, but also not burn your stuff off early. How is that balance in this new car?
Yeah, I felt like I could push it to the limit as long as I just didn't slide it any, and that's what I focused on. And I just kind of tried to keep pace with everybody else. I would just keep a solid gap out front, and whenever they started to pick it up, I started to just keep matching lap times. And I mean, by the end of it, I think we were actually a little bit better than everybody else. But yeah, I don't know. The car was just perfect. Couldn't have got any better.
And how much did you lean on your eNASCAR teammate, Caden Honeycutt? I hear he's got a bit of experience in this car.
Yeah, I actually haven't talked to him, but it probably would have been a good idea. I guess it worked out anyways. But yeah, I don't know. Just yeah.
Well, maybe you can jump in his late model one of these days. But Timmy, congratulations. 90 laps led after you took over. Through all those restarts, what was that like? Nerve-wracking trying to hang on over Bumgardner and Kuhn and those guys?
Yeah, I knew that as long as I could get through the first lap, I was good, because I think my tires were just, I saved them good and still had speed. So I mean, it got better and better and better every restart, I felt like. So I knew I just needed to basically make it through turn 1 without getting sent. But yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. Didn't want to see a yellow, but it is what it is, and it all worked out.
Well, it's a top-tier drive for you this evening. I like the sponsor, by the way. King's Hawaiian Rolls. Got some in the kitchen. I'm going to have to go head after this one. Congratulations, Timmy. Hopefully many more coming your way.
Thank you, man.
Timmy Holmes to victory lane this evening. $300 richer in car 6. That is a nice payday this evening. Steve, Ryan Kuhn goes P2 this evening. I know you know that name, and, well, he certainly showed up and showed out here at the end. Looks like Steve actually had to step away. I wasn't sure. He had to step away but stayed in the channel. But we'll bring in Ryan Kuhn anyway. Second place this evening, Ryan. I know you would have liked to be one spot higher, maybe a couple of spots higher through that long green flag run. How patient do you have to be with this new car when you do go green for 80-some-odd laps?
Yeah, I was being really patient. And honestly, I think I was a little too patient. I was riding too much, and I didn't get the track position that I needed. I really think we had the best car tonight. Second place is still a great result, don't get me wrong, but I really thought we had the car to win, me and Vicente both. I think Vicente had a few problems of his own in the back, but I felt like we had a really, really good car, and to finish second is still wonderful. Congrats to Timmy on the win, but like I said, I really think we had the best car. I was hyping myself up. I'm like, man, I can win this thing. And then when I find out it was single file, I'm like, oh man, that kind of screws us a little bit. But it is what it is. We got a second, and we'll move on to the next one.
Well, you, McCullum, even Bumgardner, Maines, Chente, even Mombercat, some of the best to ever run the late model stock car in its previous iteration on iRacing. What's the learning curve like with this new car? I obviously hear it's a lot of grip. It's got a lot of grip. That's been all over social media, but how different is it, and what's that learning curve like?
Yeah, it's so much different. It drives so much more like a real car, and I haven't driven a real car in about 5 months, so trying to get in a rhythm of it took me a long while. Took me a few hours just to get a rhythm with it. But it's 10 times better than the last one. I think a lot of people are going to love it. It's a really, really fun car, and it's a really fun learning car, and it's going to be a wonderful series when it goes to some official racetracks. But it's definitely 10 times better. I think it's the best short track car in the sim right now, in my opinion. Like everyone else said, I think it could use a little less grip, but I mean, it's still milestones better than the last one.
How about your racing agenda here in 2023? Some past races, a little more late model stock experience?
Yeah, we're going past racing, excuse me, next week. The Easter Bunny 150, actually a couple of races, I think, actually the double Easter Bunny 150s, but they're naming the first one something else, but that's next weekend at Hickory Motor Speedway. I believe that's on Racing America. But this should be a good showing. I have a lot of confidence. Just finished the car, and we're ready to go out and win there.
Might have to make the short drive out there myself. Ryan, congratulations for P2 this evening. You had to do it over the course of a long run, then a couple of short restarts, and car 72 right up front where it belongs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys in the booth. Thanks to Tyler Payne, EPI, putting the show on. All my sponsors, Everett's Auto Parts, Berners Liquors, Modern Auto Body. My guys at RKM, they gave me some great feedback to help them out. I'm really looking forward to this official season with the RKM boys.
Watch out for car 72 Ryan Kuhn to go for the overall championship this season in the late model stock on iRacing. Buddy, congrats to the P2. We'll hopefully be talking to you maybe this season with late model stock racing.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan Kuhn there, P2 this evening. Garrett Maines ends up going third, and it was a long trek to third this evening. It was no easy feat. 28th starting position after a tumultuous heat. First of all, Garrett, your night started really odd. You ran up front, I think P2 in that heat until what happened there for you?
Well, I think a lot of people know how I feel about that, but I feel like I got screwed. The guy, I understand what was going on there. He saw us coming up, and I was using the lap car to get a run on Caleb, because Caleb was going to have to pinch his car off on exit. So I was like, I don't have to. I'll just run wide, and then I'll cut back down the track with the run. And the guy was trying to get out of the way so much so he turned to the right and climbed the fence in front of me. And as he climbed the fence, obviously he's going to dramatically slow down. I tapped him, which helped him go over, but he was going over without me. And I got sent to the rear for a racing incident. I don't know. I was completely mind blown too on that call, but I really thought that was going to screw us over. We narrowly made it into the feature. I mean, we had the LCQ we had to start at the back of, and I mean, it's 15 laps to get up to fourth. And then we got destroyed. I was down power and everything. I was like limping my way into the feature. But Ryko had a freaking rocket ship tonight. I mean, we just picked them off one by one. all night long. And I saw Timmy up there, and I was like, I'm matching his pace, but I don't get to race with him. It was kind of unfortunate, but I mean, if Ryko didn't bring such a good car, I wouldn't have got up there. So props to them. They did a great job with it, and that's probably one of the best short track cars I've ever driven. So if I had 20 more laps, that would have been cool. But overall, I mean, I can't complain with the way the night unfolded after that. That was probably one of the best outcomes I could have gotten out of that.
Well, that certainly fired you up, set you up for a Cinderella story, and you were just 2 spots, a little over a second shy of that. How did you do all that? Fighting through the field, obviously that long run, I think, actually really helped. You didn't have too many yellows to try and miss, so you were able to just use your experience not only in late models and short track cars, but also, obviously, the black license kind of stands out, and you drove through the field with poise.
It definitely helped to get that long green flag run. Unfortunately, there was that crash at the beginning that I narrowly got involved in. They came off the wall as I was going by. I was wrong place, wrong time, got caught up in that and had to start over. But I mean, we just had such a fast car that it was basically on that long run when everybody's handling started fading. I mean, we were just picking them off. It was every time off turn 2, somebody get a little squirrely, and it was just I'd gain 2 feet, and now I'm on your inside, and I just check out, keep going. But it was nice. I like I said, I can't drive the point home well enough. That car was just on rails, and that made my job a lot easier.
I'll be asking this question a lot as we get used to this new late model stock car. What's the learning curve like from the old one that we had for 13 years or so? A long, long time here on the sim. This is a completely different kind of game.
You see, I like that nobody has experience in this new car because I ran the old late model so infrequently that every time I jumped in it, there was always somebody that had more experience than me. So I don't have a problem at all with a fresh start. And honestly, I like this car better than the previous version. And I feel like this is just a more underpowered super at this point. It almost drives like a modified to me. It's got so much grip, but it's a lot of fun, and it's not just mash to the floor and get going. It does take a little bit of finesse, and I mean that really starts to show in the long run. So I'm glad we got one of those.
Definitely a big head start to your late model stock car experience. Maybe you can hang on with these guys even with your Tuesday commitments. But Garrett, congratulations on a P3. One hell of a drive through the field, 25 positions. And I don't know if it's going to get the clean driver award with the ding on the right side of the car, but certainly if there's a hard charger award, you got it tonight. Congrats, and we'll watch if maybe you go for some more of these races with late model stock cars on Monday nights for the SOF races.
Well, I appreciate it, and I got to give a huge shout-out once again to Ryko for putting a great piece together. Big thank you to MCU Body and Linux Cover Seal, the guys at FGR Excel for all their support this year, and hopefully we can, I know you mentioned Tuesday night, hopefully we can go out and put a show on Tuesday as well.
I was actually just about to ask, a new team over there, how's that going on Tuesday nights?
It's been phenomenal. I've been enjoying the season so far. I feel like I kind of got robbed at Daytona. I didn't even get to really race that race. We were dead before we ever got to turn 1, but Milwaukee was amazing. It was literally just like this race. I mean, we started midfield, probably more my fault than anything, but we were able to, just pick them off one by one. It helps to have a great car, and Ryko has really been on top of their game this year, and Victory 1, I've been working with those guys. It's been great.
By the way, right now on screen in slow-mo, maybe the move of the race on the last lap. Garrett, congratulations. P3 in the EPI Late Model Showdown. One hell of a drive. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Garrett Main's P3 tonight at North Wilkesboro Speedway. One of the best drives I think you'll ever see out of a driver in a single race. 25 positions at a place like North Wilkesboro. That is no small feat. And I think certainly showing why he's got the black license and the, 9,200? Yeah, 9,210 I rating. That is a big, big number. And this was the finish to the line for these guys. Oh, so close for a second spot. Ryan Kuhn, though, hangs on in the 72. That'll do it for us this evening as far as the racing and talking to drivers and everything goes. Let's talk about some upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV, because there is a big Easter egg coming in this one that we haven't talked about yet at the channel. Monday evening, our very next broadcast, we go to South Boston Speedway with Race EPI powered by the shop for round 1 of the iRacing Late Model Tour. We're covering the Open Series, the SOF splits, I believe at 7:15 p.m. Eastern, so watch out for that here at Pit Stop TV. a really cool big venture for us. And hey, we go to Soba, which we just saw recently with the AIRL Martin PC Late Model Showdown with the old car. And then we're right back here at North Wilkesboro for week number 2. So 2 really fantastic short tracks to kick off that season. But watch out for all kinds of updates on that series. That's going to be one of the most fired up short track series you could possibly imagine. And we have the privilege of covering those SOF races here on Pit Stop TV. It all starts March 13th. Again, this is TBD. I'm going to say maybe 7:10, 7:15 Eastern. Stay tuned for an official start time. But then Tuesday evening, we go to Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park for the HFL Legends Series at 8 Eastern. And Wednesday night is the UFL Elite Series. Still openings over there. We're putting 40-some-odd cars on track for knockout qualifying every single Wednesday. And now up to 40 starters, I believe, with sponsor provisionals for the UFL Elite Series. We go to Atlanta this Wednesday. Rockingham was fun. We've got, I believe, yes, still 4 unique winners in 4 races. Nobody has repeated yet. Maybe that happens at Atlanta. Maybe we get another wild card winner. Who knows? You've got to tune in Wednesday to find out. Follow along with Pit Stop TV everywhere on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We broadcast on Twitch as well. And things were lining up, by the way. A big thank you to everybody who watched this evening over on YouTube. That's the number we watch the most. I know a lot of you guys on Twitch as well, Facebook even, and I'm sure some watching over on Twitter. We certainly do appreciate it. It means a bunch to us to see those numbers pump up for events like this, and it shows the enthusiasm, I think, that Tyler Payne has to notice from Race EPI, because this event is a hit. And I know it's fueled by the brand new car, but this should stay around every week 13. I know I said that for Speed Week, but this was a lot of fun this evening. Timmy Holmes goes victory lane in car 6. Congratulations to him and everybody else up front. I think the best race we could have possibly asked for. A big shout out to Steve Singer. He had to run there for interviews, so not able to close the broadcast with me this evening, but did a phenomenal job filling in. And a big shout out to his channel as well. Check out Holler Boys Racing TV, HBR TV here on YouTube and other platforms. That will do it for us this evening. Before we go, one more shout out to our partners with this race. The Elite Performance Industries, powered by the Shop Late Model Showdown, was a hit. So a big shout out to Tyler Payne, everybody EPI, Dustin Mumbercat, Trevor Edwards, all those guys at the shop. Team 126 Racing, Coddle Captures, Rocket iRace Wraps. I'm not sure who had the fewest incidents. It might be this guy, Timmy Holmes out front. He might be taking the Clean Driver Award presented by Jason Frey Racing. And a shout out, of course, to Timmy Holmes, who did take home the Tyler Hughes Motorsports Halfway Leader Award. That's it this evening from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in. A big shout out to all those who get it done for us in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media Simcams, OBS, and iRacing.com. We will see you next time, Monday evening, when we go to South Boston Speedway with these late model stock cars. Tune in, 7:15 Eastern or TBD. Follow on Facebook for more information.